Spirit Health Studios. This is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Utah officials are cracking down on illegal massage parlors under a new Utah law targeting human trafficking. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis.
The Department of Commerce says there are around 195 illegal massage businesses scattered through the state, with a majority in Salt Lake County.
They're in our strip malls, and they're often are advertising massage services with neon signs, confusing customers who might just want a legitimate massage.
Executive Director Margaret Bussey says there are more illegal massage establishments than McDonald's in the state. Under the new law, inspectors are allowed to enter the business for a check for compliance, and owners are required to put their names on a registration, helping protect both owners, clients, and workers. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
A Sandy grandmother stabbed multiple times by her grandson remains in critical condition. As she fights for her life in the ICU, friends are stepping in to support her recovery.
Friends say Isabel Coral has always been the one helping others. Now they're trying to help her. Melissa Tran, a friend and former co-worker, says
she treated you like family. And so it's really heartbreaking to hear that her own family did this to her. I just hope that she gets through this, and I know it's going to be a long recovery.
Police say Coral was found with multiple stab wounds and taken into surgery. Her 18-year-old grandson was arrested nearby. Investigators say he had recently been released from the Utah State Hospital for mental health-related treatment. Friends and relatives have launched a GoFundMe for Isabel Coral's recovery that you could find on our socials. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 340 right now. We're at 49,489. Coming up, we've got hazy sunshine in Salt Lake City this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers,
we've been overindulging a little more than usual over the holidays. But now, we are starting the new year off on a healthier note by taking Active Liver supplements from New Nordic every day.
Active Liver contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, all natural ingredients that help protect the liver so that it can protect you from toxins. It's like giving my body a daily detox. I've never felt better, and my energy is through the roof.
And my doctor is already impressed with how much better my numbers are looking. So if better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or pick some up today at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, are now available at Wegmans. New year, new you, new Nordic.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Jeff Selke, president of Selke Financial Group, has been helping Utah families protect and grow their money for nearly 3 decades. He's a certified financial fiduciary who believes education comes first. He even teaches during BYU Education Week. And right now, Jeff is offering his free tax estimator for retirement calculator. It's right on his homepage. See how taxes could impact your retirement income before you make costly mistakes. It's easy and free at safemoneycounselor.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. And here's Jason Jones.
Amanda, the biggest trouble spot continues to be southbound on Legacy Parkway with this accident in the Centerville area. Again, they have reopened both of the lanes there, but traffic is very, very slow, and it's all the way back to basically I-15 where you get onto Legacy Parkway in the Farmington area. I-15 is kind of slow still, but it's a better alternate route at this point than Legacy Parkway is going to be, and you're just going to be fairly heavy and slow through that entire stretch there. And now a lot of that traffic on I-15 is sort of dumped out a little bit further south, and so we're seeing less than 70 miles an hour through the North Salt Lake and Woods Cross areas as well. Northbound I-15 is looking really good through the Salt Lake Valley. Whatever slowing we had as you turn to go westbound on the eastbound on the 215 at the South Interchange has mostly cleared out now, although there's some minor leftover delays there. Pioneer Crossing and Legacy Parkway, 2100 North are looking better, but still fairly crowded. Upgrade your water with Culligan. With top quality systems for homes and businesses, softeners, filtration, bottle-free coolers, and bottled water delivery. Local experts, trusted solutions. Visit CulliganSLC.com. Culligan, water you love. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have hazy sunshine this week with highs in the 40s. In fact, we'll get all the way up to 49 next week, but today's high should be 46. Right now, it's 28 degrees downtown. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I'm Holly Richardson, and we have a guest host filling in for Greg today. It's Steve Handy. He's a former legislator. We served at the same time, and he's a communications consultant in Davis County. Thanks for joining me, Steve.
I am so excited to be here, Holly. Thank you for having me back. I was here in early November, just after the municipal election, and we had a good time. So
now we're going to talk about legislative session.
Now we're going to talk
next
legislature.
week.
Yeah, right.
We're going to jump.
That?
Yeah, we're going to jump right in with a bill that's being proposed. This one is from Senator Nate Bluin, and it's an ICE out bill. So I actually really enjoy that title. And one of the things that the Utah legislature doesn't do that the federal government often does is we don't often come up with really funky acronyms for our bills. But but anyway, this bill would keep federal agents out of sensitive buildings like churches and healthcare facilities. But we have with us on the line Senator Nate Bluin to talk to us about this bill. Welcome, Senator.
Hey, Holly. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how's it going? Good.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what this bill would do?
Yeah, so there are three main proposals in this bill. The first is basically to prohibit state and local law enforcement from collaborating with ICE in operations around a sensitive area, which we are calling churches, hospitals, libraries, and courthouses. Prohibits federal law enforcement from entering non-public government-operated sensitive spaces like healthcare service centers or shelter centers. And then what a lot of people are talking about as well is that it prohibits federal law enforcement from using facial coverings because we are seeing concerns around people not being able to determine the identities of the agents in their communities.
Nate, let me ask you, Senator, I heard a soundbite earlier this morning on my way in as we determined to talk to you about this, that you're modeling this after some other states. Tell us about how that has worked in some other states, which other states, and has this legislation been successful there?
It's been discussed and passed, I believe, in one of many Utah legislators' favorite states, California, which is I think so far working well. We have not seen in recent months these instances of ICE really getting deep into these communities in California. Certainly in other states, we are seeing serious problems right now. So this is a bill I've been working on for several months. The timing with it coming out right now was not planned, but it is good timing because it is in such a it's in so many headlines, and people are so upset and concerned about the actions that they are seeing in their communities right now, particularly in Minneapolis and in Portland and in other states. And here in Utah, I've spoken with students lately and teachers and parents and other community members who are seeing the impacts that the real public and kind of brutal instances that are being broadcast across the airwaves are really impacting our students, impacting our young people, and contributing to mental health issues, contributing to attendance issues at school with kids not showing up because they're worried about what could happen to themselves or their parents. And we need to do something to address those sort of concerns.
Senator, can I ask you a specific question about the coverings?
Yeah.
Okay, so does a state have the ability to prohibit federal law enforcement from really not identifying themselves well?
It is a valid question. We pass bills in Utah frequently that have constitutional questions around them, and this one would as well. We've certainly seen bills like a state sovereignty amendments bill a couple of years ago that basically tried to tell the federal government that we actually had the authority to interpret their laws and to implement them as we see fit. And so I think based on some of the legislation that Republicans here in Utah have passed, this should be worth a conversation as well.
Senator, Holly and I are both, reformed, retired legislators. We know what you're facing starting the session next week. So I think your Democrat colleagues are going to be all on board on this. How about on the other side of the aisle? What do you think the possibilities are that this will have the opportunity to advance?
It's going to be an uphill climb, I would hope. Very specifically, I chose to center this around churches because Utah has such a storied and important religious history, and religious communities are such a critical part of this state. And to me, those places of worship should be off limits to these sorts of actions. And I would hope that is a nonpartisan feeling, because regardless of what religion we are talking about, people are going to be impacted by enforcement operations in our community, in particular due to immigration issues. And of course, the LDS Church has what I would consider to be a really storied and important tradition of welcoming in people from around the world. That is something that I really respect about the LDS Church. And I would hope this would be an issue that they could get behind, that the church could get behind, that lawmakers could get behind, that really protects these spaces and make sure that folks who are showing up to church every day or every week don't have to worry about what could happen to them or their neighbors when they're in those spaces.
Can I just ask more broadly about ICE enforcement here? It feels like, and this is what the Minnesota governor has said, as well as the Minneapolis mayor, that they're being targeted because they're a blue state. We're pretty red most of the time. Are we? Do you think that we really would have a chance of having ICE agents act here in the way that they do right now, the way they're reacting in Minnesota?
Yeah, I think there's absolutely a chance. I mean, certainly Republicans here in Utah look for every opportunity they can to crack down on Salt Lake City. Of course, we're seeing folks who preach local control but practice something completely different when they come in and tell us how we can name our streets and do things like that. So I think they would love to see these sorts of actions in Salt Lake City specifically. Of course, we saw in recent months a woman who was here, in my understanding, legally dragged out in a very public instance of the Salt Lake City airport. This bill would actually, I think, have offered some protections there. And I think it's completely inappropriate that those are the sorts of actions we're seeing. And of course, we have a smaller ICE detention facility in West Valley City, something that if I'm elected to Congress, I'm looking forward to going into and making sure that folks are being treated humanely there on first day in office. And I think we really do need to be vocalizing our concerns, because we do have a very significant immigrant and refugee population here, and especially in the district that I represent now and the district that I am running to represent. So these are important issues that I think need to be highlighted in Utah, that many folks outside of Salt Lake County maybe don't have a grasp on. And I think that's why it's so important, frankly, that now we have a congressional district that actually represents a really unique part of this state that for a long time has not had representation.
Right. Thank you for joining us this morning. That was Senator Nate Bluin talking about his ICE Out bill. And he mentioned the woman that was taken out of the Salt Lake City airport saying, basically that she had papers and was here legally. She's still in an ICE detention facility in Louisiana, by the way. Okay, President Trump has threatened this morning to invoke the Insurrection Act, this is not the first time he has said this, but it was a move that could put U.S. military troops on city streets in Minnesota following another shooting involving federal agents. We'll talk about that when we come back.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we help Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
When you're making resolutions for the new year, have you ever thought of making a resolution to get a new metabolism?
So that your body is burning fat more naturally? I used to have a terrible metabolism because I didn't know what to eat or when to eat it until I did SOTA weight loss. I let go of 37 pounds, and now my metabolism works for me.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and it was so nice because once that metabolism changes, the things that affected you more regularly don't affect you anymore. And those are the things that I learned from my nutritionist as I was going along and even afterward. It's so helpful. They taught me how to be successful for life.
You can call and speak to a nutritionist at SOTA Weight Loss today at 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A. That's 866-800-SOTA.
Or you can go to sotaweightloss.com and see the hundreds of before and after pictures. And right now is the best time to do it because if you join now, your partner joins for free, so you get 2 transformations for the price of 1.
It's 866-800-SOTA.
Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
How do you stay humble when you're America's #1 wiper blade? That's what we're currently dealing with at Rain-X. Is it even possible to humble brag when you bully Mother Nature like we do? Do we sound too conceited if we keep repeating how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America? No. We'll take a lesson from our wipers and just keep doing our job with humility. As America's #1 wiper blade. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today. Attention Jazz Nation. We know you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, and the time has finally arrived. All tickets are available now. Let's go! Your favorite players will be back on the court, bringing the energy all season long. Whether you're looking for season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, there's a perfect option for every kind of fan. Show up loud and proud at Delta Center this season. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Buy your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
I think my biggest challenge was getting through to him to understand that love is real and you have goals in mind, you have things that want to happen, and I want to help you get there.
Sometimes people tend to shy away from wanting to adopt teenagers because they feel like they've lost so much, but there's still so much to gain.
Just knowing that there's just that other person that cares and loves me out there, it feels great. And they've done so much for me, and I can only be appreciative every single day for just having them in my life.
I think it's been the best decision because I gained a son, and he's the best son ever. If I was down and out, he'd be there.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
So, Steve Handy's joining me today. Steve,
Hi.
President
Yeah.
Trump
Hi.
threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act this morning.
Yeah.
He said, he posted on Truth Social, where he likes to post a lot. He says, quote, if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, in all caps, of course. And what is your understanding of the Insurrection Act?
Well, I'm a poor substitute for Greg Skordas this morning with his legal background that KSL I think is marvelous to always have on with these things. And you and I were talking about this. I was thinking of the Posse Comitatus Act. We looked that up, 1878. That prohibits the use of Army and Air Force, but what we're talking about here in the Insurrection Act would be National Guard. So we've seen this in other cities. Portland comes to mind, where this is the federal government has done this, and so I think this is an extreme. Would be an extreme move in my thought from the federal government. Minneapolis is a marvelous, marvelous city. Hopefully they can get things under control and get things quieted down.
Well, there was another shooting yesterday, and
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons for the escalation, I think. But we're going to learn more from ABC's Faith Aubrey on what happened yesterday.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, a federal law enforcement officer shot a Venezuelan man who they say fled a traffic stop and then attacked the officer, adding that the officer fired to defend his life, hitting the man in the leg. The department also saying 2 other people assaulted the officer with a snow shovel and broom. The injured man is in custody. He and the officer were taken to the hospital.
So, you mentioned, can we, resolve this peacefully? And Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, they have both expressed their anger, but they are also saying, look, we need to ratchet it down. In fact, the governor was basically saying, look, I know you're angry, I'm angry, but President Trump wants us to respond with violence in the street. Let's not give him what he wants. So we have ABC News contributor James Sample, who explains a little bit more about the Insurrection Act here.
Okay.
Once invoked, the Insurrection Act gives the president extraordinarily broad discretion, and courts generally defer to the president with respect to just how much discretion that is. So it is potentially a dramatic expansion and militarization of domestic law enforcement.
So it's one of the things I think that is interesting. And the Insurrection Act, I had to look it up too. You're right. I mean, Greg Skordas is not here today, but this is an older act, it really is meant for emergency situations that have to be dealt with immediately. It's only been invoked 30 times in U.S. history. And I think one of the things that's interesting here is that President Trump has talked about it since his first term. He talked about it invoking it during his first term. He talked about it during the 2024 campaign. He talked about it more than once so far this first year of his presidency, and he's talking about it again today.
Yeah, Donald Trump, every day is something different, as we know, wherever you are on that. But everything is he's not Theodore Roosevelt. Speak softly and carry a big. He's speak loudly and carry a big club. And I just would really hope, and I'm going to pray here too, that Minneapolis can get things quieted down, that we don't have to ratchet it up to such an extent that the federal government has that kind of. I understand they have that kind of authority to do it, but please, may it just be a last solution, and I hope it doesn't come to that, Holly.
Yeah, I had to look up a little bit more on this Insurrection Act, and what I can't find so far is what that actually would look like on the ground.
Yeah.
But there is a center. It's the Brennan Center for Justice. It's a nonprofit law and policy institute, and they had an article that came out in February, so almost a year ago, And they said they described the Insurrection Act as among the most powerful emergency powers at the disposal of a president who can use it to deploy the U.S. armed forces and the militia to suppress insurrections, quell civil unrest or domestic violence, and enforce the law when it is being obstructed. And then they say this, which was interesting. There are few constraints to this presidential power, and neither Congress nor the courts play a role in deciding what constitutes an obstruction or rebellion, and the law does not limit what actions military forces may take once deployed.
What an extreme, step that this would be. And the headline here, I'm looking at the same story. It says, the Insurrection Act, according to this, the Brennan, a presidential power that threatens democracy. And you can decide wherever you fall on that, whichever side you fall on that. But it seems way, way extreme. And hopefully we don't have to have this happen.
Well, and again, I'm wondering what that would actually look like.
Yeah.
Because this was something from like a long, long time ago, 1800s. Right? But it's
1870s, yeah.
Right. So what would it look like in today's terms? Does that mean Minnesota would be looking at martial law? Would it just be Minneapolis? Like, I don't know. There's a ton of questions, of course. But what's interesting to me is that there's basically no check on that power once he decides to declare the Insurrection Act. So
I think that's right, yeah.
Earlier this week, anti-ICE protesters were at a Salt Lake City Council meeting. They wanted to raise questions about the role of ICE in the city.
City Council must use its legal authority to obstruct ICE locally and protect our community from unconstitutional action that is creating terror.
So they were very outspoken, and they spent an hour taking public testimony.
Of course.
And people were like, I know you're doing everything you can. Please do more.
Right, exactly. I just wonder, it's probably, we don't know, but how many ICE agents there are in Utah? Somebody knows that, and somebody might text us in and let us know about that, but I would just wonder how many there are.
Well, I know how many there are in Minnesota, almost 3,000.
3,000 ICE agents, according to the stories that we're reading in Minnesota.
Yeah, it really is something where it has escalated, right? And we know it was just a week ago yesterday, and I was surprised it was that recent, that Renee Good was shot and killed by an ICE officer, and then yesterday we had one where a Venezuelan man was shot in the leg, and the official reports is that he was trying to run away, but we're starting to see lethal force being deployed in ways where I just haven't seen it at that level.
No, we haven't seen anything like this in our lifetimes, and it's happened to the United States clearly, but we haven't seen it in our lifetimes. And I can just go back to the George Floyd problems we had here in Salt Lake City that I was aware of, and that, watching carefully, unfortunately. And when a mob takes over, then extreme measures are then exacted to get the mob under control. So please, let's get to normalcy.
Yeah, and with George Floyd, and that was in 2020, I think.
Yeah.
That was also Minnesota, right? And it was
also Minnesota,
literally blocks away from where Renee Good was shot. So
interesting.
A little bit of a hotbed,
maybe.
A
hotbed, yeah. There you go.
So look, we're looking at potentially seeing the Insurrection Act being invoked. I also saw a news story. This is from the Deseret News that President Trump, people believe that he's preparing for an actual invasion of Iran, right? Or at least military action in Iran. They're starting to pull people out and making sure that they're basically clearing the deck. So we'll see. There's so much going on right now in the national news, and we're getting ready for a Utah legislative session.
There you go.
Local and national. So we just talked with Senator Nate Bluin, as you know, about a legislative bill that he has that would, quote, ICE out these ICE agents especially from houses of worship and hospitals and other safe spaces like that. And then we're going to speak about another local bill coming up, and that is it's a bill that was just enacted actually in 2025, but just barely went into effect, affecting illegal massage parlors. Do you know, I go to massage places. They're not parlors. I've never called them a parlor.
Never called it a parlor.
But they're all legit, and I don't even know how to find one that's not legitimate. But state officials do know how to do that. So
This will be interesting.
They say there's more than 200 illegal massage parlors operating in Utah, more than McDonald's locations in our state. So we're going to talk about that when we come back after the break.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. We are learning more about a crash that caused a big delay earlier this morning on I-15 near 4th North in Bountiful. Utah Highway Patrol says 2 cars were conducting a traffic stop when another car were not moving into the lane. One of those troopers attempted to stop a car that didn't move over. When he was hit from behind, that car then went into the left lane and hit the other trooper's car. Our top national stories this hour from ABC News. President Donald Trump said Wednesday that he's been informed that the killing in Iran has stopped and the anticipated executions of arrested protesters won't take place. Activists say thousands of people have died over more than 2 weeks of protests. ABC's Ann Flaherty.
The U.S. has 30,000 troops in the region, and the concern would be making sure that they are safe. Keep in mind also there's no U.S. aircraft carrier in the Middle East right now. The largest U.S. aircraft carrier, the Ford, was moved from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean because of the recent operations in Venezuela.
President Trump again stressed his aim of acquiring Greenland on Wednesday, shortly after top Danish officials met with Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio at the White House. ABC News Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce.
President Trump has been very clear. He argues that the U.S. needs Greenland for national security, and he has not ruled out using military force to get it. And of course, Denmark is our NATO ally. They've stressed that they are happy to work with the U.S. to bolster security in the region. But as Trump ramps up these threats, the Danish are now sending their own message. They're increasing their military presence in Greenland and asking other NATO allies to help.
Your money at this moment. The Dow right now is up 399 points. That's 0.8%. We're at 49,549. Coming up, warm weather will continue in the Salt Lake Valley. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you're tired of hot, uncomfortable dress shirts that just don't hold up, sweat stains, stuffy collars, short tails, sound familiar? Meet your new favorite dress shirts from Serve Clothing. The game-changing design features a mesh collar shield that stops sweat stains from ruining your look. Plus, built-in vents keep you comfortable under suits and jackets, no matter the season. You'll love the extra length that stays tucked in and the antimicrobial odor-fighting fabric that keeps you fresh all day. Forget about replacing your dress shirts every 6 months. With Serve Clothing's unbeatable 2-year guarantee, you know your shirt is built to last through the toughest work days in any climate. And giving back is a priority. Last year, Serve Clothing helped to outfit more than 750 missionaries and others in need using a portion of your orders. Don't wait. Serve shirts sold out 4 times last year. Visit serveclothing.com right now to get yours before they're gone. Serve Clothing. Dress shirts that actually serve you. serveclothing.com.
Women go through many changes in their lives. And we believe each milestone matters. That every new candle represents another step in your story. Our healthcare experts support women at every stage of life. Because each chapter deserves to be celebrated. Women's health. Nurture what's next. Find care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health. Human kindness lives here.
It's 2026. New year, new you, new resolutions to keep for a couple weeks. Whether you're trying to eat healthy in the new year or not, your best choice is Omaha Steaks. They have multiple bundles to choose from. They have an all-protein pack if you're trying to slim down or eat clean, consisting of butcher's cut filet mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken breast, boneless pork chops, classic burgers, and more. Everything you need for your freezer and meal prep. Or grab one of the other bundles that include potatoes au gratin and caramel apple tartlets. That sounds good. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use promo code SKY at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code SKY.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Kenny is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Kenny's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. And back to you, Jason.
Well, Amanda, what a difference an hour makes. Just an hour ago, Legacy Parkway was a complete mess with that accident in the Centerville area. That's cleared, and so have the delays. In fact, everything's moving smoothly now in Weber and Davis counties. Southbound side of I-15, we are seeing a little bit of slowing just past Beck Street. We had reports of an accident, never could see it on the cameras, and most of the delay that was there from whatever that was has cleared out. Just some minor leftover pocket of slowing there. That's it, though. Everything else is moving along quite nicely at this point. No problems now. 2100 North and Pioneer Crossing and Lehigh, those have all cleared out. And the earlier delays that we had on 201, those are all gone as well. Your ultimate destination for the hottest new cars and trucks, off-road vehicles, exotics, and more is at the Utah Auto Expo, the 16th through 19th at Mountain America Expo Center. Tickets at autoshowutah.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Daytime highs will stay in the 40s for the next 7 days. 46 for a high today. We'll get up to 49 next Wednesday. Right now it's 32 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So today it's Holly Richardson and Steve Handy. Greg has the day off. But look, Steve, I didn't realize how much of a problem illegal massage parlors were.
Who knew?
In Utah.
Who knew?
In Utah. So KSL News Radio's
Let's do it.
Brianna Willis has a little bit about that.
The Department of Commerce says there are around 195 illegal massage businesses scattered through the state, with a majority in Salt Lake County.
They're in our strip malls, and they're often are advertising massage services with neon signs, confusing customers who might just want a legitimate massage.
Executive Director Margaret Bussey says there are more illegal massage establishments than McDonald's in the state. Under the new law, inspectors are allowed to enter the business for a check for compliance, and owners are required to put their names on a registration, helping protect both owners, clients, and workers. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
So we have with us Executive Director of the Department of Commerce, Margaret Bussey. Thanks for joining us again, Margaret.
Yeah, great to be here.
I should not laugh. And it's not funny. It just strikes me as unusual and unexpected, I guess, that there are more illegal massage parlors in the state of Utah than there are McDonald's.
No, it's a crazy statistic when you think about it, but this is not where massages are taking place. This is where illicit sex is taking place, often driven by sex trafficking. And that's the saddest part of it all.
Yeah, Margaret, we were learning about this. I hadn't heard about this. I mean, this law, and Holly and I looked up the bill that was done by Evan Vickers and who was the
Norm Thurston.
By Norm Thurston, Representative Thurston, and this morning, and that it went into effect January 1. And now you've got some enforcement tools and some teeth that you can go after and clean this up. So are you having to put on additional inspectors to get this under control?
As of now, no, that's not what our plan is. What is going to happen is that any kind of massage establishment has to register now with our Division of Professional Licensing. What that does is it makes the owner and the operators culpable and findable. We actually know where these illicit massage businesses are because there's a nonprofit that sort of tracks all of this. So if these businesses don't come forward to register, then we kind of have a regulatory hook, if you will, to go after them. And what it does also is it protects the legitimate massage establishments from being sort of harmed reputationally by the illicit massage businesses because they will come forward and they will register. And so really it just gives another regulatory hook to be able to go after these in ways that oftentimes our law enforcement partners haven't been able to get to.
Was this a bill, Margaret, when the bill was done, was this initiated by your department, or did the legislators realize that there was a problem?
You know, I think legislators have always realized that we have this kind of sex trafficking happening. But this idea, in order to, sort of create this new regulatory hook, did come from our Office of Professional Licensure Review. Okay. They're looking at different license types all the time and ways typically that we can reduce barriers for professional licensees. But in this case, we found this to be such an egregious problem that we found that we really felt like we needed to add this regulatory hook to hold these folks accountable.
Can I ask you a little bit more about the human trafficking component? I'm assuming that many of them are women, or most of them are women. How are they being trafficked, or how are they being basically held hostage to do this kind of work?
I'm definitely not an expert on this, but I think from what I have learned about this situation is that folks are typically recruited from other countries many times. Young women, even girls, told that they're going to have a better life, that they're going to, have all of these benefits by coming to the United States. And then when they arrive, they're told this is how they have to pay off their trip to get here. And so it becomes almost like they think it's like an indentured servitude type of a situation. And they're often not, because they're new to our country, they don't know where to go, whom to report to, that this is happening. And so in this way, now we hold the owners and the operators of these establishments accountable with this new regulatory hook, because oftentimes the victims they don't know where to go, and they don't understand what their rights are under U.S. law.
So, Margaret, and we're speaking with Margaret Busse, the Executive Director of the Department of Commerce. We had a texter send a message that I think is a really good thought, and that is the more disturbing thought is that there's a market that keeps them open here. What kind of actions could be taken against the people who are the customers of these establishments?
Well, I totally agree with whoever that respondent was. It's awful to think that there is a market for this. But what we're really trying to do is to shut these places down. So people will have to go out of state to find these kinds of services. We don't want them to be here. And, it's illegal to seek out commercial sex. So when we go after the owners and operators of these establishments, then we can go after some of those folks as well. But that's really where it starts, is to be able to identify and hold accountable the owners and operators of these establishments so they get out of town.
Margaret, best wishes as you go forward, your department goes forward, and it will be very interesting, 6, 8, 7, 8 months from now to have you back on and and provide an update to the citizens of Utah. Cleaning this up.
Sure.
Thanks
so much.
Yeah, thank you. And, it's one of the things where you just think, I didn't realize how much of a problem it was. In fact, I'm looking at a KSL TV story that talked about where these are located.
Oh.
And Salt Lake County has 114. Utah County has 25. Weber County has 20. Davis County has 16. Washington County has 11. And these, as Margaret mentioned, have been identified by a nonprofit organization that tracks these kinds of things, right? And she said some of them are just openly advertising, right? Come on in for a massage, but how do you know, wink, wink, that it's not actually a legitimate massage place? But apparently people know.
Apparently people know, and I'm glad somebody has some scrutiny here. Let's get this under control.
I really like the approach that Utah has done a lot of things that I think are innovative to say, okay, what levers can we pull to make some change? And, when they were talking about this new bill this new law that's now in effect, one of the levers is it's unlawful now for these organizations to lock the door, to prevent people from coming in, to refuse to let inspectors enter the premises, because it sounds like that's one of the things that they were doing, is preventing people from coming in.
Well, nefarious actors will always find a way around, and it sounds like just what we're learning this morning, they've thought this through pretty well.
And there's always another way around.
There's
right?
always another way around.
Look, so when we come back, we're going to talk about a vote that people from the Washington County Commission took. They voted to not adopt the new congressional district maps. It sparked some strong words from Utah Democrats, but one of the interesting things about this story is that one of the commissioners who made a vote said on a Facebook post, "I didn't think anybody was paying attention." I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, you are.
You're always on, right? If you're elected, you're always on. We're going to talk about that when we come back after the break.
You probably know if you need new windows. You hear the wind whistling. There's condensation between the panes. Maybe your heating bill's too high, but you don't want to pull the trigger because it costs a lot of money. I understand. And they understand at Advanced Window Products. After all, they've been creating custom state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. They know what's up. That's why they offer 60-month 0% financing or buy now, pay later. You get the windows this winter for 30 to 40% less because you're buying straight from the factory. They'll build, they'll install your windows, and you don't have to pay for a year or more. At Advanced, they're committed to making your new windows affordable. And if you call now, they'll knock another $2,500 off your quote. State-of-the-art, energy-saving windows built here for Utah's changing climate. And right now, $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, "Alexa, open KSL News Radio," or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
It's the dawning of a brand new year, and NPS is here to make sure that new year is wonderful by helping you, all of our families, buy at great, great prices. You know, each and everything in the store, any given day, is 20 to 70% off. And then they have additional sales. They change all the time. New things are coming into each of the stores, and you can save even more at NPS. And of course, if you're looking to eat a little healthier this year, NPS has the great produce. They have things that you are looking for to make sure your family eats well and eats healthy. And of course, there are many things for your home as well at greatly reduced prices. NPS, it is the nice place to shop and the nice place to save. Each of their locations, 2 in Salt Lake City on Empire, 1 in Orem, and 1 in Layton. NPS for the brand new year.
Progressive's Accident Response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's Accident Response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
How do you stay humble when you're America's #1 wiper blade? That's what we're currently dealing with at Rain-X. Is it even possible to humble brag when you bully Mother Nature like we do? Do we sound too conceited if we keep repeating how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America? No, we'll take a lesson from our wipers and just keep doing our job with humility. As America's #1 wiper blade. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Emergency medical unit, respond to 102 Maple Avenue. Possible stroke victim.
When stroke occurs, you have 60 minutes to win or lose the race of your life. There are new treatments, but you must get to a hospital fast. If you suddenly feel weakness on one side, have trouble speaking, walking, or seeing, it could be a stroke. Call 911. Get to a hospital. Because how you spend the next 60 minutes could determine how you spend the rest of your life. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
And expanded Inside Sources.
I'm happy to be here today with Steve Handy. He and I both served in the legislature. I was there 15 years ago and didn't stay very long. You stayed longer than I did. But
I did a dozen years.
So we have a really interesting story, and I think we can look at it from our perspective of having been in elected office. But go ahead and tell us what's happening.
I will. The Washington County Commission voted to not adopt the new congressional district maps in the state. And here's more on what happened with KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott.
Washington County Commissioners voted last month not to adopt the maps in spite of Judge Diana Gibson's ruling. Commissioner Victor Iverson not only refused, but said he'd like Judge Diana Gibson to come down there and enforce it herself.
I am seriously angry about this situation. I think it's a constitutional crisis. I really do. I think it's beyond simple politics. It's a gross abuse of judicial power.
Utah Democratic Party Chairman Brian King disavowed Iverson's words and fired back in a statement saying no one is above the law, especially not county commissioners. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
So one of the things that's interesting about this is it's kind of a protest vote, but I don't think they have any legal authority actually as county commissioners to say we're not going to abide by this map.
Well, I don't think they do either. We're missing Greg Skordas today, but I think Civics 101 tells you that they must abide by the law. I mean, the legislature's suing. It's going through the Utah Supreme Court. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, come on.
Those are the maps we have right now.
Those are the maps we have.
So here's something that I think from the legislative perspective is what I think is funny, a little bit funny. So I remember when I joined the legislature, we have open and public meetings. If you take your votes in public, right, and it's on the record and it stays on the record. Like you're always on.
Exactly.
You have to assume you're always on. And I remember I've done media trainings. You probably have too, actually.
I have too. Yes,
to say, look, don't say or do anything you don't want to have on the front page of the newspaper.
That's exactly right, because people in the news media are exactly looking to find you stub your toe.
That's right. So there were only two of the county commissioners who voted at that meeting. But the other one was Adam Snow, and he posted this on his Facebook page that's publicly available. And he says a couple of weeks ago, Victor Iverson and I voted to not adjust our elections under the new judge-created map. And then he talks about the judge exceeded her authority. And then he says this, I can honestly say that when we voted, I didn't think anyone outside the room would have ever heard or cared about our vote. There was no grandstanding or nothing to appease the public. I said what I said and voted the way I did because I thought it was the right thing to do. It's just the idea that I didn't think anybody was going to notice.
Oops. I'll bet Commissioner Snow doesn't make that mistake again. He's been in office a good time. He's a great guy, and it's one of those human oops.
And you can have an opinion, and certainly we know that there are a number of Republicans in the state that are very, very have very, very strong feelings about this redistricting.
Right.
And Greg Skordas and I, we talked about it a lot on this
you
show.
Have a lot.
Yeah, about what's going to happen and what could happen with the Supreme Court. Look, I think, and Greg mentioned this, it seems likely that the legislators for the Utah legislature, not legislators, the attorneys, the lawyers for the Utah legislature will ask for a stay. That hasn't happened yet, as far as I know. And so what we do have are the maps that Judge Gibson says these are the maps.
These are the maps. And, of course, the legislature tried to buy a little time pushing back the filing deadline
right.
for congressional candidates into March sometime.
Yeah, into March. And I think with Skordas having said it's likely that they'll file a motion to stay, that could potentially say we're going to keep the same maps that we had in the 24 election. But barring that, we're going to have the maps that the judge said in, first of all, it was like November. These are the maps, right? So we could have a map in 26. We could have a different set of maps in 28 because if the Utah legislature is successful in their lawsuit or however they maybe change the law, we could have a different set of maps certainly in 2032 after the next redistricting cycle. I mean, that's a little bit of in, out, in, out, in, out. That'll be an interesting process to watch.
Yes, it is. Get some popcorn and sit on the sidelines. But no, this affects all Utahns, and this has got to get settled, sorted out.
It is, and we still are waiting for the U.S. Supreme Court to rule on some redistricting. It's not really exactly the same, and that's the issue. Is there's national conversation about redistricting, right? And please go find me some maps in Texas. Go redraw the maps and find me some more Republican seats. And California says, well, we're going to redraw and we're going to find more Democratic
show
seats.
You.
Right? And so there's back and forth with legal action there. That does not what happened in Utah. It's not President Trump saying, find me another Republican seat, because we already have 4 Republican seats, right? We don't have a Democratic seat. What this is a result of is Utah's public, the majority, it was a slim majority, but it was still a majority, voted in 2018 to adopt Proposition 4 that says you need to do an independent redistricting commission. And if you don't like their maps, then you need to pick a map that still fits these guidelines, including not looking at voter partisanship.
Right. I was still in office during 2018, 2019, 2020, into 2022. So I lived through all of this. And, hindsight's a wonderful thing in life. But this really could have been mostly avoided.
I think that's probably true. And I was there in 2011 when we did the redistricting.
For them, after the 2010 census.
That's right.
Yeah.
Was that the time where we got the 4th congressional seat? Was that 2011?
That was when we got the 4th congressional seat, yeah.
So I remember those discussions and going around the state, and then we had this Proposition 4 in 2018, and then you did a second redistricting cycle. I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you. Yeah, I wasn't on the committees, but anyway, we were all involved in watching it carefully and closely. But yeah, after the 2018 and the 2019 session, that was negotiated. The Better Boundaries folks were given $1 million to go out and establish their own staff and go out throughout the state. But part of that, the bill was but the legislature may consider not ever intending to the maps that you were going to draw.
So they did. And, again, like you said, there's an ongoing discussion about whether the question is who has the authority to draw the map. And according to the judge's ruling, she says there's conflicting parts of the Utah Constitution. One says the legislature shall.
Yes.
But another section says citizens have the ability to reform their government.
That's right.
And so you have these two conflicting sections of the Utah Constitution. I don't know that the Utah bill will ever make it up to the Supreme Court. And we've had Senator Todd Weiler on and say, I think because it affects a state constitution, it probably won't ever rise to the level of the U.S. Supreme Court. But I'm not an attorney. I don't know.
Yeah, we've been all following that very, very carefully and closely to see what's going to happen. And so let's see with the Utah Supreme Court when they're going to
I don't think it'll be before the March filing deadline.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be much past that. So I think the only opportunity to have the maps that existed in 2024 is for the Utah Supreme Court to issue a stay and then also specifically say we're overriding Judge Gibson's determination that the 2024 maps were unconstitutional, which sounds super complicated to me, and I'm glad I'm not an attorney.
This is going to be quite the thing to continue to watch.
Yeah,
and very, very important, very critical that this gets fixed.
I think when you have other people, I think it would be interesting if you had, for example, a city council that said we refuse to accept the maps and we're not going to redraw. It's not actually their jurisdiction to redraw the maps, right? as
That's
a city
exactly
council.
right. That's exactly right. So in Washington County that we're talking about, there's some frustration, some drum beating. It got into the public, and now here we are talking about it today. Got on the record. Here we are talking about it today, and we'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll continue to talk about it. It's super interesting. And I expect, and I know that you probably expect as well, multiple bills during the upcoming session that address this issue from a variety of angles.
It's going to be interesting to see.
It will, won't it? Okay, when we come back after this break, Utah is expected to have around $300 million fewer tax dollars to work with this year because of the One Big Beautiful Bill. So we're going to talk about how that impacts our state when we come back after this.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act and send troops to Minnesota after protests and a second shooting involving an ICE agent. He mentioned the possibility on Truth Social, saying he will do it if Minnesotan politicians don't obey the law and stop people from attacking ICE agents. Here in Utah, air quality is in the orange. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says he is watching the high pressure carefully.
What I am seeing is the core of high pressure move off the northwest coast of California. That could open the door for some upper level winds to pick up in speed. If we can get that to happen over the state of Utah, that may just help our air quality as we head into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
The worst air quality right now is in Salt Lake County around Mill Creek and the University of Utah campus. Schools still hold outdoor recess even when air quality is in the orange or unhealthy for sensitive groups range. But some families may choose to have their students stay inside. State toxicologist Alejandro Maldonado says kids can be more affected because of the nature of their outdoor activities.
Kids are, outside, or they're running around, they're playing, they're breathing a lot more, so they are being exposed to greater amounts of those air pollutants.
Jeff Haney with Canyon School District says Canyon View Elementary has been flying their orange flag in front of the school, which signals to families that it's an orange day for air quality. He says that tells the community that the school will be cautious with recess decisions. Your money at this moment, right now, the Dow is up 378. We are at 49,528. Coming up, we'll get a look at this hazy sunshine in the forecast. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
When you're making resolutions for the new year, have you ever thought of making a resolution to get a new metabolism?
So that your body is burning fat more naturally? I used to have a terrible metabolism because I didn't know what to eat or when to eat it until I did Soda weight loss. I let go of 37 pounds, and now my metabolism works for me.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and it was so nice because once that metabolism changes, the things that affected you more regularly don't affect you anymore. And those are the things that I learned from my nutritionist as I was going along and even afterward. It's so helpful. They taught me how to be successful for life.
You can call and speak to a nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss today at 866-800-SODA, S-O-T-A. That's 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sodaweightloss.com and see the hundreds of before and after pictures. And right now is the best time to do it because if you join now, your partner joins for free, so you get 2 transformations for the price of 1.
It's 866-800-SODA.
Because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or bird seed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If the power goes out in the middle of winter, do you have a way to stay warm? If not, you need the Vesta off-grid space heater from My Patriot Supply. It's compact, safe to use indoors, and best of all, it doesn't need electricity. Right now, you can get a free Vesta and other bonus gifts when you order the Winter Survival Kit from My Patriot Supply. Just go to mypatriotsupply.com to see everything included. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. And back to Jason Jones.
And Amanda, it's looking pretty fantastic out there along the Wasatch Front at this point, both north and southbound I-15. No delays, no accidents. Between Payson all the way up to Ogden, you're going to be running at good speeds through the entire stretch there. No problems on the Belt Route or any of the major feeders over to I-15. If you're headed up into the canyons, that's also looking really good up in Weber and Davis counties. No problem on the Legacy 89 or the West Side Belt. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find a location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hazy sunshine today with some more bad air. Highs will be around 46, which is warmer than normal. We'll stay in the 40s for the rest of the 7-day forecast. Right now it's 32 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So, one of the things, Steve, that we know with being in the legislature is, in fact, I think it might be the biggest, most important thing that legislators do is decide where the money is going to go. And we balance our budget here in the state of Utah, not just on paper, but in reality, right? We make our budget match our expenditures and also the money that we have coming in. So one of the issues that we have this year is Utah's going to be getting, as a state, about $300 million less than they were anticipating.
Yeah, as much as Utah, with $30 billion budget, we like to think about independent and great, well-managed state, and all those things are true and wonderful and great. We are really dependent on a lot of federal funds, but guess what? Utahns have paid those federal funds.
That's right.
But we are dependent on a lot of federal funds. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, because I see in Brigham's story, and he's going to talk to us about this, there's a conflict that's been reported here between the House and the Senate.
So what's interesting, we have Brigham Tomko of the Deseret News, is we've got a federal budget busting bill for the western states. And I wonder if you can just set up for our listeners just really why is it we're not getting this money from the federal government?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. So the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed into law last year is the centerpiece so far of President Donald Trump's domestic agenda. And it did lots of things like funding ICE immigration law enforcement. Another thing it did was extend and expand tax cuts. And what that does is actually change the federal tax structure that lots of states base their own income tax rates on. And so automatically Utahns will be experiencing a state tax cut as well if our lawmakers decide to remain in conformity is the word they use with federal tax code. And so as you highlighted there, we were expecting a $300 to $500 million revenue surplus this year in the legislature, which means they would have new tax money they didn't have in past years for new projects. And now we're flat. There's no surplus at all because of this tax change that is, occurring because of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And something that, we could get into later is that Utah's neighbors in Idaho and Arizona are experiencing this in a much more drastic way because they were not set up to have a surplus initially. And so this change from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act has actually set them up to have a budget deficit going into their legislative sessions that began this week.
Oh, wow.
Not good. Not good.
So I wonder if you can tell us, what are the solutions that Utah lawmakers are looking at for either, if we're flat, like, are they looking at cuts? Are they looking, what are they looking at to work on this issue?
So in Utah Governor Spencer Cox has led the way in saying that none of the state agencies are going to get to expand this year. And in fact, he's going to ask them to shrink. And House Speaker Mike Schultz has said that they're going to be asking these state agencies to actually make around 5% cuts across the board. So that's where these agencies are going to be starting out as they're making their funding requests this year with those cuts in mind. But Utah lawmakers are also trying to find room, at least this Republican leadership, are trying to find room for an additional tax cut for Utahns. And that's where we're actually seeing a big divide emerge between the House and the Senate in terms of where they want to provide that additional tax relief for Utahns.
It kind of just depends, in my experience, Holly, and your experience too. Going to be interesting over the next 45 days to see what happens. But in my experience, and you and I both served in the House in the Republican caucus, the Senate can pretty well drive what's going to happen because the Senate can just sit there.
Well, that's where bills go to die.
That's where the bills go to die, and they can just sit there like a rock. And I know that President Adams has been very committed to these continued tax cuts. I think we had a 5%, and then it's kind of down to about, what is it? Bring them down to about 4.6. I
think it's 4.5 now, and we have
4.
a lawmaker
5.
that has
there
already had their bill numbered this session to bring it down to 4.45.
To 4.5.
Another incremental.
So there's going to be a lot of interesting discussion. But $300 million, that's a big number. And now asking the departments to tighten their belts by 5% if that's what it ends up being.
I know today that the Utah State Board of Education is meeting to start those discussions of where do we cut 5% from our budget, right? And they feel painful, right, when you have to reduce your budget. And I remember back in the days of the Great Recession, 2008-9, as the legislature was getting fewer and fewer dollars in, they cut first fat. Then they said they cut muscle. Then they said they had to go in and they were cutting bone. It was so deep, some of the cuts. I remember those years. But let me ask you this, Brigham. You mentioned that there's a difference, and Steve brought up that the Senate president wants to see another decrease in income tax revenue. What does the House want to see?
So the way this is being framed by some in the Senate, and obviously this is favorable to the route they want to take, is a distinction between principled tax cuts and so-called populist or popular tax cuts.
Ouch.
And so what we're seeing in the House is a push from Speaker Schultz and others in his caucus to cut gas taxes, to shift the burden of property taxes away from primary homeowners, and in doing this, to shift the burden to oil companies and commercial property owners. And so these are being framed by the Senate as more populist approaches to tax cuts, whereas they just want to follow the same streak they've followed for 5 years in a row now of just slowly decreasing the income tax rate.
So let me ask you this, maybe a little bit of a cynical question. Does it have anything to do with this being an election year, that we want to say I cut taxes for 6 years in a row?
Well, thankfully, I asked a Republican consultant who can share their opinion on this matter, and that's exactly what they said. They said the theme of the 2026 legislative session is the 2026 election. So,
Well, President Adams has 3 Republican challengers. He's got his hands full.
And Speaker Schultz has a couple of challenges, I think. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell us about this. Just what else you've picked up on? Maybe even Arizona. You mentioned they have a budget deficit. So Arizona and Idaho, what are they looking at then with potential areas of cuts? Do you know?
Yeah, so Arizona is a larger state than ours, and it'll be impacted more by the One Big Beautiful Bill Act income tax change. So they're actually looking at $400 million less in revenue than was projected or expected. In Idaho, they're expecting, somewhere between $200 and $3 million less than expected. The difference is, in Arizona, they were already dealing with a tight budget with a ballooning school voucher program that's kind of been successful, but also growing so rapidly in a way that's been difficult for their budget over the past decade. And Idaho followed Utah's example just last year, passing their own school voucher program, which, as we know, takes up a big chunk of the budget. And they decided last year also to pass a $450 million tax cut, which was 4 times the recommendation of Governor Brad Little. And now what we're seeing is now they have a $40 to $80 million budget deficit that they're going to have to fill. And you're hearing some of the Republicans in Idaho saying that they want to cut the state's Medicaid expansion as a way to address this. And in Arizona, they're thinking about potentially revoking or reversing their tax credits or tax breaks that they had given to these data center companies as a way to getting more revenue. And so already lots of controversial debates in our neighboring states about how they want to fill those holes in their budget.
Wow. That's so interesting.
So interesting.
Well, look, Utah lawmakers also want to give Rocky Mountain Power customers a break on their power bill. So we're going to talk about some proposed legislation, what it means for you, and we've got an energy expert in Steve Handy, so stay with us over the break.
Hi, it's Julie. January is normally a winter wonderland in Logan, but instead we're wondering about winter altogether. Ugh, this weather. It's easy to get stuck in a rut this time of year, so get in your car and escape to Logan for a refreshing change of pace. Get a hotel, swim in the pool, and check out great restaurants that are new to you. Catch Aggie basketball, gymnastics, or hockey, and especially Aggie ice cream. Bull Tracks is my personal favorite, in case you were wondering. Take in a live performance or see a classic flick at the Utah Theater. Throw hatchets, go bowling, or ice skate outdoors. Ski the Beeve and check out their new lodge, or rent snowmobiles in Logan Canyon. Enjoy a sleigh ride through a giant herd of elk. I don't really know if you should pack winter boots or galoshes and an umbrella, but either way, your Logan stay will be packed with fun, great food, and beautiful scenery. Just get here. Check out explorelogan.com/winter, explorelogan.com/winter, explorelogan.com/winter.
Every January, Duke's Jewelers celebrates another year serving the Springville community. And this year, they're doing it in a big way. It's the anniversary sale. And for 3 days only, January 22nd through 24th, all jewelry in the store is 50% off. That's right, half off everything in the case. Diamonds, gold, colored gemstones, signature pieces, everyday favorites. If it sparkles, it's on sale. And that's not all. For those dreaming up something one of a kind, special orders, custom design projects, and all watches are 25% off. Duke's Jewelers is proud to be a 4th-generation family-run business, and this sale is the Duke's way of saying thank you for supporting local, choosing Main Street, and trusting Duke's Jewelers with your most meaningful moments. But don't wait. These savings last just 3 days. January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville and shop the biggest sale of the entire year. Duke's Jewelers. Elevate every moment. Some exclusions apply.
Alpine Home Medical. We bring wellness home.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical, and I'm humbled to win Utah's Best of State for 2025 for the 15th year in a row. After 28 years, we're all about you. Over 1,700 5-star Google reviews and a 4.8 customer satisfaction score to prove it. We'll keep working hard for you. I've spent this year advocating with lawmakers for better Medicare reimbursement, ensuring you always have the best access to medical supplies you need. From Idaho Falls to St. George, our 11 stores are your home for comfort. When you hear Alpine Home Medical, think of that best of state experience every single time. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical. We bring wellness home.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think.
All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s,
affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
So, one of the things that I know about you, Steve, is you really have an expertise in energy and all of that. And, you know, there was a time where you were like the energy guy in the legislature, and I was in the governor's office of energy development.
Right.
And then you were like, you'd come in, I'm like, you know so much stuff. So we're going to talk about Rocky Mountain Power and a bill by Carl Albrecht, but I wonder if you can just tell us basically what is this doing with Rocky Mountain Power and why are we having a bill here?
Well, when I started out in trying to understand energy, one of the great things that I did is I went out to Rocky Mountain Power just down the street from us here on North Temple, and could see. And you go into this room where this huge screen is, and you're seeing throughout the West really how energy is moving around. And so they're moving from geothermal to hydro, and of course all the traditional coal-based dispatchable power. Renewable has come on so strongly, and they're moving it around to find the best prices and for their customers, because that's the mandate. If you have which we have in Utah, a regulated utility, they get to have a monopoly. But it means that the Public Service Commission gets to determine their rates, and then they get to figure out, how much of that goes to their stockholders. Berkshire Hathaway owns Rocky Mountain Power, Pacificor. So Representative Albrecht has a bill. It's called the Energy Balancing Account, and what these accounts do, it's very complicated, but it's accounting for these fluctuations in all of the different sources of power that comes along. And of course, the goal is that Utah has been very fortunate to have some of the lowest energy prices in the country, stability. And so what he's trying to do is saying, you're getting too much of a share, Rocky Mountain Power. We need to bring this into a better position, like some of our surrounding states that are also in the Pacificor family.
So I remember, I think it was just last year, it might have been the year before, where Rocky Mountain Power said, hey, we want to raise our rates something like 30%. I think there was some pretty strong response to that one.
Yeah, pretty strong response. And I was at the Public Service Commission. It was in Portland for the Western states, and talked to some of our folks about that. Our commissioners were there. Two of the commissioners were there. And they had just unbelievable work they had done on this, and then Rocky Mountain backed off to 18%, and then I think they got about a 4% increase, and now there are, I don't know if it's an actual lawsuit, but they're working their way through an appeal through the Public Service Commission. And one of the challenges is, of course, we had a bill in the legislature about this, are these wildfires. What's the responsibility of the ratepayers for mitigation for these incredible, devastating wildfires? And there should be something, but it's very, very complicated stuff.
I have a question about data centers. So my understanding, these really big data centers use a ton of energy, and are those costs passed on to consumers in some way? Is there some equalization there, or is it just the data centers have a broader share? How does that work?
Well, the data centers, they just need to consume a lot of power, so they're paying for the power. They just the challenge with the data centers, and that's Governor Cox's Operation Gigawatt to expand and double Utah's energy production to accommodate these data centers and our growing population and all of the industry that's growing, and great things are happening in the state of Utah. So they're private companies. They're just paying the rates, and they try to negotiate a rate, but they're just paying the rate.
Okay. So how does a bill like Representative Albrecht's impact me and you? How does it impact our listeners' bottom line?
Probably we would never see hardly any kind of an impact. It's such you're talking about such big numbers here, billions of dollars, really, such big numbers that you and I, the consumer, in our monthly electric bill wouldn't see much of an impact, but we might be able to hold off increases. But I think what the representative is trying to do here is he's really trying to hold Rocky Mountain Power's feet to the fire. They're under big scrutiny from the Public Service Commission, and now you're getting the legislature to weigh in as well.
Have you seen any other legislation being proposed this year that deals with energy?
Yeah, there are several bills. There are, the Utah legislature isn't particularly a fan of renewable energy, unfortunately, because we are an all of the above state, which means that we should be energy neutral because of the tremendous demands for electricity. We need to get everything that we can obtain, and that should include renewable energy. And as the coal plants, they've delayed their shutdowns, but they are still, coal continues to be more expensive, and renewable energy is very, very inexpensive. And what you're going to see is in one of the bills that Representative Colin Jack from St. George has area. That he wants to have, and I have some problems with this personally. So an individual property owner, a farm, for example, wants to have a small-scale utility source, and I've toured some of these things for an additional, because farming's tough to make money, as you know.
Sure.
And so this is an additional revenue source for the family farm. He wants to place some additional taxes there, which is, not, in my opinion, not a good thing. He tried this last year, and he's bringing that back. But I haven't seen right now too many energy bills. We're kind of, all of us watching this, holding our breath to see what's going to pop out.
Well, just as of a couple of days ago, I think maybe yesterday, there were something like 350 bills that have been released, and we'll have another 900-ish.
Another 900, kind of in that 1,000 is what moves around up there.
I have a question about nuclear, because that has been a big talking point. I think that we want these smaller modular
SMRs.
Right. Okay. So are there bills this session, or where are we in this production potentially of nuclear energy?
I don't know. I think the state has, in fact, Representative Albrecht from Richfield area we're just talking about, he had the bill last year that established it was a nuclear oversight commission to really put this forward, and it's a great thing. Lots of talk about small modular nuclear reactors. And I think that people shouldn't. I think it's kind of the shiny new thing, but it's still 8, 9, 10 years off before it really becomes something that we're saying. Oh, we're getting our electricity from SMRs that are. Brigham City, for example, has adopted it. Governor Cox went up there, and one of the first communities, and that those are all good things. But it's really is still years off.
And I think isn't one of the biggest issues we still have so many federal regulations that it is really, really hard to get something up and running in less than several decades.
Yeah, you're still balancing safety as opposed to getting something moving, And I was at a conference in Cleveland in August and talked to the commissioner for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and just a really great guy, smart guy. And he said, we're doing everything we can to economize and to accelerate still having safety with the approval of nuclear. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. And the first time I was talking on the show about modular, I called it backpack nuclear, right? It's not quite that small yet.
Yeah, not quite that small.
But it is really interesting. And, there's lots of other places around the world that use nuclear energy safely. I think France is something like 80% nuclear or something like that.
Right, exactly right. And, in Germany, and they've gone back and forth in Europe on their nuclear adoption. The younger generation doesn't like it, doesn't want it, but they don't have any choice. They don't have coal, and you can't.
It's actually really clean energy, right?
It is clean, and you cannot be dependent on Russian oil.
That is absolutely true.
Hello.
Right. Okay, look, when we come back, we're going to talk about a press story. The FBI raided the home of a Washington Post reporter as part of an investigation. This really rare move is raising big questions about press freedom and government overreach. And you and I both have experience in the press world. We're going to talk with a reporter from the Deseret News, Cami Mondo, about why this happened, what they took, etc. We're going to come back after this break.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story, the details of Shaw Ray's funeral have been announced. He was the teen who survived what police believe to have been a murder-suicide in West Valley last year. He unexpectedly passed away earlier this week. His funeral and viewing will be held at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house in Salt Lake City on Saturday. It will be public. Friends, family, and classmates are welcome to attend. His family released a statement along with the funeral plans saying they look forward to celebrating his life with others and inviting everyone to live with kindness and humility. A man is facing possible charges after police say he hit a 15-year-old boy with a golf cart.
It actually happened last summer when police say Glenn Hugh Gersberger was playing at a local golf course. The 15-year-old says he and his friends were playing when another group came up behind them and hit a bunch of balls near them. He got frustrated and threw one of the balls into the weeds nearby. Gersberger then reportedly drove the cart straight at him and hit him, injuring his knees and shins. Gersberger said he didn't mean to hit him. The grass was wet and he couldn't stop the cart. If convicted, he could be dealing with a first-degree felony charge. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The latest report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows the job market is still wavering.
2 weeks ago, initial claims for state unemployment benefits jumped by 8,000. In the week that just ended, the number fell by 9,000, landing just under 200,000 applications altogether. The less volatile 4-week moving average also fell last week by 6,500 to its lowest level in a year.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 362 right now. That's 0.75%. We're at 49,513. Coming up, we've got hazy sunshine this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
Start your new year in a new ride. Performance Automotive in Bountiful is wrapping up the year with deals you just can't miss. Looking for a rugged Ford, a reliable Toyota, or a stylish Honda? Score incredible savings and financing options that fit your budget. But hurry, these end-of-year deals won't last. Come in for a test drive at Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda, or online at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
You still thinking job change in the new year? Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy. IT? Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI. That's what I did. Really? How? Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up. Sweet. Are classes online or on campus? Both. Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You've heard me talk now for years about the Kinetico soft water system that we have in our home. As we head into the colder weather, if you're dealing with dry and itchy skin, do you notice your skin is cracking? It's uncomfortable, and the lotion doesn't seem to give you the relief you need? Hard water may be a hidden contributor to that pain and discomfort of dry, itchy skin. I've got Monty here from Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer and an expert in overcoming challenges with hard water here in Utah.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. When you shower in hard water, the minerals don't rinse away completely, forming a film in your skin, leaving you feeling tight, dry, and constantly itching.
So the hard water minerals are essentially leaving a sticky residue on my body and even in my hair?
Exactly. Kinetico removes the minerals before they touch your skin, leaving you feeling silky, smooth, and comfortable.
Do what I did and stop buying expensive lotions and start treating the source of the problem. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at UCCU.com. And back to you, Jason.
Well, Amanda, we went from really nice on the commute to really not very happy if you are northbound on I-15. We got a rollover accident. This is approaching 9800 South. All the left lanes are blocked. Looks like 2 or 3 right lanes are getting by. But yeah, 4 lanes on the left are blocked there. So you're going to just have to expect it to be a little while to get through there. Those delays are already almost back to 123rd South at this point, and we just kind of expect it to get a little bit worse until they can actually get this car uprighted and then get it onto a tow truck. Otherwise, it's just going to take them a little while to get through there. If you're southbound I-15 coming out of Weaver and Davis counties, no problems at all. The belt route is looking good, and no problems on the other highways or side streets. It's just this accident on I-15 that's going to cause all the trouble. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hazy sunshine today. We'll get up to 46 degrees, and we'll stay in the 40s for a while. Right now, it's 36 downtown. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I'm Holly Richardson, and I'm joined today by Steve Handy, a former legislator and current consultant. And Steve, part of your past includes a whole bunch of time doing some stuff with media.
Yeah, I spent 17 years. Remember when we used to have newspapers?
I know, right? A long time ago.
I spent 17 years in the newspaper business, worked for the Ogden Standard-Examiner for a few years, and then a long career with the Deseret News as the director of marketing.
Right. So we, and I have written for newspapers, and I still do, actually, for the Deseret News. We still call it a newspaper, even though most of the time it's digital. But the Justice Department seized the electronic devices of a Washington Post reporter who has written about government layoffs, and it's saying that it was because there was classified information that was stolen. So we have with us Cami Mondo, who is the Deseret News congressional reporter, and she wrote an article about this FBI raid. Thanks for joining us, Cami.
Absolutely, thank you.
So we just gave our listeners just the briefest of overviews. Can you tell us a little bit more about why this search happened?
Absolutely. And, there is an interesting aspect to the story is that this reporter is not the subject of the investigation that justified the raid, but they say that someone who, is a government contractor who is accused of taking classified intelligence reports home with him. They're saying that this reporter was given that information and was able to report on it. And so they actually seized her phone, 2 of her laptops, a watch, basically as part of the investigation into this government contractor. But it is very rare for reporters to have their information and, actually have their stuff taken from investigators.
Yeah, it seems unusual to me for sure. And you just said it was very rare, but why would they take her watch and her personal computer and her work computer if she's not even part of this? She's not the subject of the investigation, I guess.
It seems that maybe they're trying to find what information was given to her, maybe to prove that this government contractor did actually disseminate the information. There isn't a lot of, clarity around why she is part of this investigation. It happens where investigators will follow reporters who have reported on leaked information, but yeah, it's very rare. And, it used to be a lot harder and rarer, I guess, for reporters to have their information taken just because of federal laws that protect reporters and protect, their source relationships. But maybe, there's not exactly clear understanding as to why they had taken it, but it's probably to, solidify that link between her and the one who was actually arrested.
Cami, this is Steve Handy. Listen, I think it's really, really concerning. You're there in the fishbowl, and you're learning this. Just kind of a perspective here with the loss of Robert Redford last year, and some of his famous movies. And so I watched all the President's Men.
Yeah.
And you can better believe if Nixon could have done this, they would have done it.
Oh yeah.
You know what, Holly?
Oh,
they
yeah.
would have done it.
So
this is really disconcerting today. What's the pushback from the Washington Post itself, Cami?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you've seen a lot of these Washington Post people say that, they're monitoring what's going to happen. They've defended their reporter. A lot of the reporters that I know from the Washington Post who I work with up here have tweeted, in support of her, reporting her workout because, she has covered the federal government very closely over the last year, reporting on federal agencies that have done these layoffs, who, she's talked to a lot of workers who have been, losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods. And so there is, that kind of pushback where, it's a little bit scary that, you're holding the government accountable. And now a lot of what her work has done has now led to her being raided by the FBI.
Wow. So what about for you personally? You're out there in D.C. Does it raise any kind of red flags for you?
It is a little bit, disconcerting that, when you work with sources like this and you work with people all the time, you really want to keep that relationship secure. I protect a lot of my sources who give me information. I don't, highlight or, identify who they are to protect them, but also that's the working relationship that you work with up here. And so, to have your personal belongings taken so that they can try and, charge somebody with giving you that information to do your job, it is a little bit concerning, and I'm sure it concerns, those people who want to work with reporters to help keep the government accountable. So it is a little bit concerning in that sense.
Yeah, it should be. I'm looking at some of the comments from your story, Cami, and here's one of the ones that said, I applaud the FBI for finally cracking down on those who endanger national security in the media. That is a really this person can say this, it's fine.
We're talking about layoffs here.
We're talking about layoffs. This is national security.
National security. Yeah.
You're there and you get it, but we don't get this as media people. We don't get this. This is a concern.
Right. It comes to after, the Pentagon had just made, all those reporters had just left, and there's national security reporting around there where these reporters, it makes it harder to do your job. And people say, it is to keep national secrets, I guess. But there is a level of where, you need to know what's going on in your federal government. And reporters are the people, for the most part, who are working with these, either whistleblowers or whoever. And so when you get that level of you can't do your job, it does raise questions about, what's happening behind closed doors.
Thank you so much for joining us today. That was Cami Mondo, Deseret News congressional reporter. And media attorney Jeff Hunt spoke with Midday with Maria Chaleos yesterday on the legal impact of this search.
It is a serious escalation of this administration's, going after the press for basically reporting information that it disagrees with and wishes was not reported.
So basically, they should not have done this. This is wrong. I'm not overstating that, right?
No, I think it's unlawful. There's a 1980 statute, the Privacy Protection Act, that prohibits searches of reporters devices and newsrooms, and so that's a law on the books. And in addition to that, the United States Supreme Court has recognized First Amendment protection for news gathering of journalists. And the reason for that is sort of self-evident. Without some First Amendment protection for gathering the news, the right to publish it would be eviscerated. So it's an extraordinary development, and one that really sends I think a chilling message to not just reporters, but to the sources that they talk to get newsworthy information out to the public.
I think that's to your point, right?
Yeah.
We remember Watergate, and those were sources that were not identified, right? And I think with good reason. So it's again, another really interesting case, and something I think we're going to have to watch moving forward. I know one of the news articles I saw said that the FBI did it at the request of the Pentagon.
Yeah, it's really, to me, and hearing Jeff there, the media attorney in Utah, really, really disconcerting and concerning. And this should not be happening.
Yeah, it's yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I wrote an article this week about some research that I read. It's been a while, and it's been on my mind. I've written about it before, actually. But power, even a little bit, changes our brains, and it's not in a good way. And so we're going to talk about power and how we can prevent any kind of power from corrupting our brains and our approaches. So stay with us after the break.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields. Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner, a local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Join KSL Radio's Amanda Dixon this Friday from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
1877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids, 1877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids, 1877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids, 1877 Cars for Kids, donate your...
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you've ever set New Year's resolutions before, you know how difficult it is to follow through because you have to wait to see the results. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in honor of your New Year, New You resolutions, Any Hour Services is having our New Year, New System sale. From now until the end of February, Any Hour Services will give you $2,026 off a new furnace and air conditioner. And you don't have to wait to save the money. You get $2,026 off at the time of purchase. The only thing you have to do to qualify for our New Year, New System sale is call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. When you call, there's no obligation to buy. Just schedule a time to meet that works best for you. Let me say that again. From now until the end of February, when you have Any Hour Services install a new furnace and air conditioner, we'll give you $2,026 off. Call Any Hour Services right now and schedule a free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Inside Sources.
So I have been writing for news outlets for, I think, more than 9 years, at least 9 years. And one of the things that I still try to do, and I'm not as regular now that I'm on the radio, but I still write columns for the Deseret News, and I just wrote one on power and how it impacts our brain. And this, I first came across an article, I think probably like a decade ago, but it was looking at some scientific research about how power affects our brains. And it's like brain damage. It's not good.
That is incredible to think about this. I haven't ever, had this. This is going to be a great discussion about this, and I really appreciate your story.
So there's an author that I quote, Dosher. I think you say his name, Dosher Keltner, but he said this. He said people with lots of authority tend to behave, quote, like neurological patients with a damaged or orbital frontal lobe, a brain area crucial for empathy and decision making. And then he says this: even the most virtuous people can be undone by the corner office. In other words, even well-intentioned people aren't immune to power having an impact on our brain. Now, it's easy to say politics, right? I think it is. In fact, this is an article, but it's not just politics. It can be the HOA president. It can be the student body president. It can be a sorority. And one of the things that I remember from reading this article is that it said we don't typically choose leaders because they're unkind. We typically choose people that are kind and charismatic, and then somehow they change, right, when they get into these position of power. So there was an article in The Atlantic from 2017 that started this way: if power were a prescription drug, it would come with a long list of known side effects. It can intoxicate, it can corrupt, it can even make Henry Kissinger believe he's sexually magnetic.
I read that in your story.
I know. So look, we've both been in positions, I think, that have some sense of power, right? Elected officials. There's only 75 House members across the state. That comes with some stuff. But what have you seen? And then we'll talk about maybe some ways to combat it.
Well, I in thinking about this over the course of my life and the experiences I've had in all kinds of venues, I'm going to say even in my religious affiliation, you can see this. You can see this happen with people, and I think all of us have examples. I certainly do, of people who say, he or she, they're not the same person that they were. What happened here?
Mm-hmm.
And I know this, that you have in your story, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And I'm not saying that anyone who gets to that position is corrupt. But I'll tell you one of the mantras in my life that I try to follow, and I don't always do it, but I try to follow it. It was attributed to President Truman, in essence. You can get a lot done if you don't care who gets credit.
Yeah.
And I try to follow that. I really try to follow that at this stage in my life.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And, I put in my article, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the founder, Joseph Smith, wrote a letter from Liberty Jail, and he had this verse, which I think is, like, even from a religious perspective, now we have a scientific perspective as well, but he said this: "We have learned by sad experience that it is the nature and disposition of almost all men. As soon as they get a little authority as they suppose, they will immediately begin to exercise unrighteous dominion." Right? I mean, so it seems to be universal. It seems to be, just part of the human condition, but the question then becomes, how do then people in positions of influence guard against these blind spots that power can create?
I'm going to call your story a wonderful public service, and I'm grateful for this conversation here, and people will go to your story and read it. And in their circles of influence and in their associations, I want people to tell me, Steve, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not right. You're not getting this. And
Mm-hmm.
I can take it. I can take it. And I can take it if it's said in a kind way, but sometimes it has to be more abrupt. And I've had to learn that. And I hope that it's helped me stay somewhat grounded.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. We have to be able to take feedback, and we have to have people who are willing to tell us the truth, right? And that means not all of our jokes are funny, right? It means not all our ideas are great. I remember one time I had a friend give me a phone call, and this has been a number of years, but I still remember it. And she said, "Holly, I don't understand why you're acting this way. It's not very kind."
Oh.
And I was embarrassed that I was not being kind. And it's probably been 20 years or close to 20 years. And I really have tried to be kind. I've tried to be kind in my interactions. I've tried to be open and curious to people with different viewpoints and experiences, right? But she was willing to have a hard, I'm sure it was a hard conversation. In fact, when I mentioned it to her, I don't know, sometime in the last year or so, she goes, I don't even remember that at all. I'm like, it's stuck with me all these years, right? Because she called me out and said, that wasn't very kind. If we only have people who tell us, oh, all your jokes are hilarious, and they, won't tell us when we need a breath mint, and, they maybe won't give us feedback on something that we said that maybe didn't land right, that's not a healthy place to be.
Well, and the other thing I'm thinking about, too, is with the proliferation of and the social media world that we live in, the likes and the dislikes and the thumbs up and the thumbs down, what kind of somebody in science is studying this, and that will be interesting to determine what those findings are.
Well, it does.
But it has to have an effect.
It does. And, that's a part of the social media conversation we've had is we know that there's brain chemicals that are released, dopamine, but there's other ones as well, when we get those likes and those hits. And one of the things I think, in fact, I was just talking to you during the break, is you can look at, I think, even social media influencers as somebody who has a position of power, right? Does that change how they treat the people around them? And, I've seen this too. I have kids that are marrying age, right? And one of the pieces of advice that is typical out there is how do the people that you're dating, how do they treat maybe like the wait staff in a restaurant? How do they treat maybe the janitors at school or at the hospital or wherever, right? How do they treat somebody who can't, quote unquote, do anything for them? That's a really important indicator of what your relationship might be like.
Exactly. I mean, and it's interesting to me that you kind of, in our association with people, you don't know sometimes who the person is. I mean, sometimes they're this, and sometimes depending on the circle that they're in, and sometimes they're someone different. And wouldn't it be wonderful as human beings that we could be consistent in all aspects of our lives?
Yeah.
And in all.
I think another way to help mitigate some of these less favorable side effects, I guess, of having power is increasing transparency. So they talked about the corner office and make sure that corner office has lots of windows. So don't hide behind closed doors and get into situations where you act anonymously, speaking of social media. There's lots and lots and lots of studies that have shown that when we think we're alone and that no one will know, we sometimes make some pretty bad decisions.
And your great third point you make here is anchor yourself. You quote Clayton Christensen. How will you measure your life? It's easier to hold to principles 100% of the time than 98% of the time.
Yeah.
Once you begin making small exceptions, trust and integrity tend to unravel
Yeah,
quickly.
that little book, and I don't know if you've read it, but I recommend it. But one of the things he says in there is when he was in school, and you might correct me, but I think it was Harvard. But
yes,
as he was going through his graduate degrees, he talked about the people in his class with him, and some of them ended up with like the Enron scandal, and some of them had multiple affairs during their marriages. And he's like, nobody in that class set out to make really bad financial decisions.
Exactly,
It was those little tiny things. It's like, well, this one time I can do this one little thing, right? And that's his point, right? Easier to hold 100% of the time. And I think my last point, but of course there's lots more, but to practice real humility. It's okay. I mean, I think we see examples of faux humility, false humility all the time. Oh, but it's really, really, truly being truly humble. And, I have to say, I think it's fair to say that we don't have to continue giving power, unchecked power, especially to people who have abused that privilege.
That's exactly right. They have forfeited their right to have that kind of respect from us if they can't be centered and practice some humility.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thanks
Great
for
discussion.
Thanks for that conversation. So when we come back, another thing right up your alley. It's another mucky day in Salt Lake City, but we're going to talk about greenhouse gas emissions. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. KSL's top story this hour. A man has been arrested after police say he threatened to set off a bomb at McKay-Dee Hospital in Ogden yesterday. Police documents say 51-year-old Dustin Child was unhappy with his results at the hospital, so he told hospital staff he had a bomb and he would set it off to get the response he wanted. Turns out he didn't actually have a bomb, but Child admitted he wanted to cause a disruption at the hospital. Emergency operations had to be halted for nearly 20 minutes. With nearly 200 in the state, the number of illegal massage businesses outnumber McDonald's, and a new law is working to do something about it.
The workers that are providing these illicit services are typically, or to the clients, are often victims themselves. They're being trafficked and exploited by the owners and criminals running the businesses.
Department of Commerce Executive Director Margaret Bussey says the new law would allow the department to work more closely with officers and requires owners to register their businesses. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act over the unrest in Minnesota over the actions of immigration agents.
Federal immigration enforcement operations will continue in Minnesota, according to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, despite fierce pushback from state and local officials and residents. Asked by ABC if what's happening in Minnesota is an insurrection, Noem said,
I describe it as violent and a violation of the law in many places.
Secretary Noem said she discussed the Insurrection Act this morning with the president, but didn't indicate what he would do.
My hope is that this leadership team in Minnesota will start to work with us to get criminals off the streets.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 335 points, the S&P up 38, and the NASDAQ is up 175. Coming up, the haze continues, but for how long? KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
New year, new deals. At Paris RV, we're blowing out the 25s, and many of the manufacturers are throwing in extra rebates. Hook up to the open-range conventional 177BH with bunk beds, only $13,878, $159 a month, 0 down. Or climb aboard the Solera 22N motorhome for only $78,888 or $647 a month, 10% down. Or load the toys into the Voltage V-Series 3500 toy hauler for only $69,577 or $563 a month, 10% down.
Come see me at Paris RV.
Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH. That sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month, 0 down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Here's Jason Jones.
And they have uprighted this rolled over vehicle northbound I-15 approaching 9800 south, and they've got one of the vehicles up on the back of a tow truck. They're trying to get that one that was rolled over also up onto a tow truck as well. So delays are still kind of in place. They're left over, but they're not nearly as bad as they were because right now only the HOV and the shoulder are blocked, and so everything else is moving through there. So it should take you much less time to go through, although the slowdowns are still going to start about 123rd south as you head up northbound I-15. The rest of the commute, though, is looking really good. We're not seeing any other accidents or delays on your major highways or side streets. Most everything else is moving at regular speed. New year, new home ideas. The South Jordan Home Show is this weekend at the Bastion Agri Center. Meet local contractors, explore the latest in home improvement, and save time and money. Free admission and parking. Details at southjordanhomeshow.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 46 in the forecast today, and we'll stay in the mid-40s with no rain expected for the next week. Poor air quality continues today, but we should see some slight improvement starting tomorrow. Right now it's hazy and 36 degrees. I'm Heather Peterson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I'm Holly Richardson, and I'm joined by Steve Handy today.
Hello, Holly. Hello. Great to be here.
So it was. I thought it was just slightly amusing as they did the weather. They talked about the inversion outside and the air quality not being so great, and that's right up your alley.
Yeah, I served in legislature. You and I did there for a minute, but a lot of the time I was there working on environmental kind of things and one of the co-chairs of the Bipartisan Clean Air Caucus, learning about air quality and what the state was doing. And of course, we're right in one of our infamous inversions right now. Looking out of the studio here to the east, it's not all that bad, but I know KSL's reporting it like crazy. 3 cigarettes a day or something like that soundbite that someone's come up with. But we have on the line here Bryce Bird. Bryce is a friend of mine. He is the director of the Division of Air Quality. We have in state department, we have departments and divisions, and so his division is part of the Department of Environmental Quality. Bryce, how are you doing?
Doing great. Good to talk to you, Steve and Holly.
Yeah, happy to be here. I had, when we were talking about what we talk about today, and the inversion is front and center for all of us, particularly on the Wasatch Front, I noticed that you had just released the Beehive Emission Reduction Plan. I'm still doing a little consulting, as you know, about the methane problems in the Uinta Basin, and we've been following the Beehive Reduction Plan and have met with your people. And tell us about the Beehive Emission Reduction Plan, Bryce.
Really, we look at it as a great opportunity for the state of Utah. So this funding came from the federal government through EPA, and it was to look at emission sources throughout the economy and look at opportunities to kind of move the needle, reduce those emissions by making choices to move to cleaner technologies in the electricity sector, transportation, industry, buildings, waste, working lands, and agriculture. So basically, all the things that produce emissions that both impact our public health and impact our economy was really the focus of this plan.
Terrific.
So I'm looking at the website where there is this information about the Beehive Emission Reduction Plan, and I just have questions right off the bat. So it looks like you're looking down the road a number of years, but is this something that is this brand new released, just new information?
It is. It was released in December, and it really is a two-phase. So we had a priority plan that was developed a couple years ago, and then this comprehensive plan really looks at evaluating where emissions are coming from, where we can make improvements, and then kind of what the gaps are in meeting that. And an important part of this as well with that priority plan, we're eligible and ultimately received some federal funding to put actual emissions controls and incentive programs on the ground to benefit Utahns today.
Yeah, that number is $74.7 million. And Holly asked me before we went on the air. She said, "But with the kind of the rollbacks in Trump's EPA, how did Utah retain that funding?" And my answer was, I think it was you're very glad that we did. We're all very glad that you did retain that, but it was hopefully grandfathered and it was in place and being implemented. And the regional people or the EPA people said, Utah, you're doing a great job. And you put this money to good use. Would that be about how we should look at this?
Yes, and I'd say it wasn't easy. It did take a concerted effort from the governor's office, from our delegation, just to help everyone understand that even though this was a prior administration focus, that the actual benefits, really the programs that were the targets of this funding would benefit Utah today. And I mean today, literally, on a high air pollution day, the incentive programs for light and heavy duty vehicles, for EV charging incentives, for really driving local solutions to our air pollution problems is certainly a benefit. And anytime you can put resources into that, we all benefit from those improvements.
So, Bryce, let me ask you a question about what we can do at the individual level. Like, what can I do to make a difference?
So really, it's just a realization that everything we do contributes to air pollution. From starting our car in the morning, driving miles and miles around the valley, how hot we heat our home, even down to how we heat our home, making sure we have the most efficient furnace. Going to new electric heat pumps really can make a big difference. And it's not that any one person is really going to move the needle, but it's the combination of hundreds of thousands to millions of people making these small improvements that really is the pattern that we've seen over the past 50 years that has allowed us to create air quality plans, put those into place, and actually meet the federal air quality standards when averaged over 3 years. But we still have, of course, challenges with these inversion periods where all the pollution that we contribute as a society from our transportation, from our homes and businesses, from industry is trapped under this lid of the inversion, and it stays with us until the next storm comes. So everyone can do something, and it's really just looking at what you do that uses energy, what you do that uses volatile organic compounds, so paints, solvents, even all the way down to consumer products in your home. All those, even though they're small by each individual, they do add up, and especially when the lid is on the valley, they continue to add and increase the air pollution concentrations, and it really impacts our health.
Let me just pick up on that a little bit. I remember when I was in office, I had a constituent call. It was one of these terrible inversion times, even worse that we're having now. Called and he said, "What are you, Representative Handy, what are you going to do to solve the pollution problem?" And I made, unfortunately, a flippant remark back. Maybe it was the power in my brain.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe the power in my brain. And I said, "Well, what do you want me to do? I can't legislate to move the mountains." And that was not a good thing to say because I then committed to get myself educated, joined the Clean Air Caucus, tried to run some legislation, tried to help and support you. And you're exactly right. We all can do something. And so I pull up to get it to the bank. I order a something drive through. I turn my car off. I really do. And if we'll all do something and take responsibility, individual responsibility, because we still say, don't we, Bryce, that 50% of our problems are coming from tailpipes. I mean, even with the move towards EVs, and you and I see each other. I'm on that the Aspire, the Industry Advisory Board for the Electrification Initiative.
Yes, so transportation is still the largest component, and even with the vehicles we have, we can still make them better. So anti-idling is a big one. Idling gets you nowhere is one of our little sayings that helps remind us of that. The other one is even carpooling, trip chaining. So once your vehicle's warm and operating, take care of all your trips in one go versus starting and stopping, letting the engine cool down, because whenever you have a cold start, there are extra emissions that come from that. Teleworking, where that's a possibility here during the inversion periods, or even anything you can do to reduce even by a little bit what you contribute. If everyone does that, it really does make a big difference.
Thank you so much. That was Bryce Bird, Utah
Bryce.
Division of Air Quality Director. And, we learned yesterday and announced it at the very end of our show that the president of UVU is resigning at the end of this semester. We're going to hear more about her announcement and discuss her impact on the university. Stay with us.
What most people don't realize is this. If you got government Obamacare health insurance again, especially here in Utah, you're not just overpaying a premium, you're carrying most of the risk yourself. At My Policy Quote, yes, I can help reduce premiums. In fact, many families are seeing around 47% savings, even more on gold level plans. But the real issue shows up when life happens. A doctor visit, lab work, an ER trip. The moment you hand over that blue card or any big box insurance, that's when prices jump. And with families suffering with deductibles now reaching $20,000, you're paying all of the out-of-pocket long before the insurance starts to help. My name's Mike at My Policy Quote, and I work with private insurance based on your health, not your income, so you're not forced into a one-size-fits-all coverage. That means lower overall costs, access to national PPO networks, and plans designed around how families actually use care. If you pay your own health insurance, self-employed or small businesses, call me, Mike, today. 385-367-6779. Again, that's 385-367-6779. Or visit mypolicyquote.com. That's mypolicyquote.com. .com to get started now.
When you're making resolutions for the new year, have you ever thought of making a resolution to get a new metabolism?
So that your body is burning fat more naturally. I used to have a terrible metabolism because I didn't know what to eat or when to eat it until I did Soda weight loss. I let go of 37 pounds, and now my metabolism works for me.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and it was so nice because once that metabolism changes, the things that affected you more regularly don't affect you anymore. And those are the things that I learned from my nutritionist as I was going along and even afterward. It's so helpful. They taught me how to be successful for life.
You can call and speak to a nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss today at 866-800-SODA, S-O-T-A. That's 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sodaweightloss.com and see the hundreds of before and after pictures. And right now is the best time to do it because if you join now, your partner joins for free, so you get 2 transformations for the price of 1.
It's 866-800-SODA.
Because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Happy New Year, Susan. I really appreciate you picking up the bill for lunch.
I'm happy to. One of my New Year's resolutions is being better with money. So I've started using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for buying gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I earn cash back just for buying the gas I was already buying.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash back on everyday gas purchases. Use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RIDER. Code RIDER. Offers vary by user and location. Go to Upside.com for terms and conditions.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. Drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
I wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The new Inside Sources.
So it's Holly Richardson and Steve Handy today. And Steve, at the very end of our show yesterday, we were able to break the news that President Astrid Jimenez is going to step down as president of UVU.
I was listening to you and Greg yesterday. I want you to tell you that. I was listening and I heard you say that. Hey, breaking news.
Yeah, so she had done the State of the University address, which is like State of the Union or State of the State, right? So, and we were watching. We can't hear sound, but we were watching on one of the monitors that's here in the studio, and she's dancing, and you know, President Jimenez is not very tall, and she's up there. She's got bright green boots, and she so embodies the spirit of the university, which I love. And then at the very end, she said, here's my announcement for you.
And I know you're all familiar with so many storms in my life this year. Some of it very public, some of it very private, all of it very crushing. And I like this quote from the writer, Haruki Murakami, one of my favorite authors, from his book Kafka on the Shore, where I'll just read it to you. Once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over. But one thing is certain, when you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what the storm is all about. And I don't think I'm the same person from last year's State of the University. And I want to announce today that I am leaving UVU. So, oh, I cried a lot last night, so I'm not crying today. I am leaving UVU. This will be my last semester, effective May 1st, 2026. I will be, I don't know where I'll be, to be honest, but I think that's also a good thing, you know, a little bit of a leap in the dark. And I just want to tell you how my heart is full of love and gratitude, for truly this place has meant everything to me.
So this is a fun fact about myself. I graduated from Utah Valley University with my bachelor's degree.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 10 years ago this spring, actually,
okay.
because I was a non-traditional student, went back quite a bit later in life. But she has really been remarkable in what she's been able to do there. I also adjunct there. I started a class last week. I'm teaching public speaking, and it's a required class. Everybody has to take it. So
awesome. Good.
It actually is. It actually is
I'm
really
going to take
fun.
the class. Yeah.
No. Yeah, you can come guest speak though at the class. But you know, one of the things that she has done during her tenure there, and it's been about 7.5 years, student enrollment increased. The number of graduates more than doubled. It's really interesting. Like, fundraising is important for universities, if you believe it. They have to go and do that, right? They have more than 48,000 students. They had the highest fundraising year at the end of the year last year. She just leaves such a legacy behind. And, you know, she talked about the rough year, and the Deseret News article really talked about, in fact, they said she steps down after a year of grief. And if you remember from last spring, her husband passed away. He was climbing a mountain in South America and ended up having a health issue. It turned out to be a pulmonary embolism, and he died on the mountaintop.
Yes. Yeah.
So she took time in her speech yesterday to thank her family, including her late husband.
And I want us to just have a moment for Jeffrey Stewart Tolk, who passed away on February 5. If you knew Jeff, you knew how much he loved UVU and taught here and supported everything we did here. I think we need to remember that the flow of life always goes on, and that I hope everybody here remembers what this university is about, that the momentum is tremendous, and it goes on without me. I just don't know if your next president will be a dancer.
Well, listen, I do not know President Tuminas personally, but I have been around here a number of times, and she is a human dynamo. We'll never forget her, dyeing portions of her hair green.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about all in her advocacy, in her leadership at UVU. And not only do we know also with the personal loss in her life, the horrible thing, the Charlie Kirk, we have to say it, that happened. And I was so impressed I saw her piece with her and the student body president addressing the faculty and the students there. It was just, it was remarkable. She's a remarkable person. She has but 10 years 10 years you can check that. That's a great, because you are always on when you are a president of a university.
For sure.
Always on.
You know, she not only did she lose her husband, but then, as you mentioned, she had the Charlie Kirk tragedy. She addressed that yesterday, too.
We had the tragedy of Charlie Kirk on September 10, and author Arthur Brooks came here and he said, why UVU, why Utah, and what is this moment asking of us? And I know as difficult and heartbreaking everything was, and frightening, to be honest, our students stepped up, and one of the best gifts I received this Christmas was from two of our interns, Olivia and Arwen. They took some of these Post-its. This is an art installation with the questions, how have you witnessed kindness in the midst of tragedy? How have you shown kindness? And this just made me cry as I read some of these Post-its from our students. They have very, very big hearts. And we had our comfort animals, our alpacas, the thousands and thousands of flowers that were brought to campus. We had students on 60 Minutes, on opposing sides of the spectrum, showing how you can disagree respectfully, and showing that beyond the disagreement, you must remember you're in one school, you're in one state, you're in one community.
I think one of the things I really appreciate about President Tuminas is how open she's been about her grief journey, because I've been there too. I haven't lost a spouse, but I have lost children, and just to hear her get emotional about her husband. She talked in the Deseret News article. She recognized, and she said this, I didn't realize how traumatized I was until I started to prepare a statement for the students. And in October, she had done a longer piece, and there's a video interview about her navigating grief during 2025. And I didn't know that this might be the end result of it, but that how open she's been at saying, look, this has been a hard year.
I think we can all learn from her and wish her well in her future and further pursuits. And she's got a lot to give.
Yeah.
And I think this state is better off for having her at the helm of Utah Valley University.
She's really left a mark for sure. And, most of the entire hour was her dancing and talking about how great UVU is and how they've progressed. But she also talked about some of her favorite moments.
My favorite moment, I don't think that I have one favorite moment, but I think I've said this many times, that the reward for me of being here at UVU is the students. And I don't think, Kyle, you can fake the love. You don't fake it. I feel it when I am with our students, and to me that's the biggest reward. I remember my first year, just walking up and down the hallways, I would talk to random students, and they would tell me their story, and I start crying, because the story was usually so pithy and so full of, struggle and dreaming and believing that they can make something of themselves. So those are my favorite moments. I would say that every freshman convocation every year fills me with such joy, and every commencement, because I see the bookends, of the year.
So one of the things that is interesting to note, and this is from the Utah Board of Higher Education and the USHE, right, which is the Utah System of Higher Education,
right.
They have a new framework for replacing a university president. So this will be the first time that they implement that with the resignation of President Tumines. One of the things that they're going to do is that there's a transition team, which is they set that up, right, so that you have the past president and the new president, they can do some things together. But this transition team will actually continue for 6 months after the new president is installed. So we'll follow that. But
yes,
this
indeed.
year, this, we're in 2026. It's the 250th anniversary year of the Declaration of Independence, and we're going to talk to you about how important it is when we come back after this break.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. KSL's top local story this hour. A man is in police custody after he joined in on a fight against a teenager. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott reports.
Booking documents say 21-year-old Israel Wofford was hanging out with a group of 14-year-olds, one of which was a family friend, when one of them got into a fight with another juvenile. When it became apparent that one of them was losing, one of the teens says that the rest of the people, including Wofford, jumped into the fight. According to police, they ganged up on one teen who was struck multiple times in the head and body while on the ground. Wofford was arrested after police were shown multiple Snapchat videos in which they say Wofford is seen joining in on the beatdown. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Prosecutors in Philadelphia are charging 26 people in a major sports betting scheme that they say involved 17 NCAA men's basketball teams. U.S. Attorney David Metcalf says the alleged scheme involved making money off the point spread of games.
The defendants would identify a game in which a corrupted player had a team that was favored to lose, and then they would bribe said player to deliberately underperform so that his team would lose by more than they were favored to. They would bet for them to not cover the point spread.
Players would reportedly then be paid for their participation at least $10,000 to $30,000 per game. Utah is expected to miss out on about $300 million in tax revenue this year because of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Now, Utah lawmakers are trying to make up for that lost money with the legislative session starting next week. State leaders say they're looking to cut the budget instead of increasing local taxes to make up for it. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 398 points, the S&P up 47, and the NASDAQ is up 215. Coming up, 40s, and more 40s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tax-free retirement. It sounds like a wonderful dream, doesn't it? Well, it doesn't have to stay a dream. Tune in to the Tax-Free Retirement Show Saturday afternoons at 5 right here on KSL for real-life case studies in generating multiple streams of tax-free retirement income through something called the Retirement Income Maximization Strategy, or RIMS report. The Tax-Free Retirement Show is powered by Axios Capital Strategies, Saturday afternoons at 5.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at UCCU.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
The good news is northbound I-15 all clear once again. The crash prior to 90th South has been cleaned up. All lanes of traffic are open and the delays are gone. We have a crash in the final cleanup stages being pulled away now. Southbound I-215's west belt just before California Avenue. It was over to the right shoulder. They're trying to make sure they're getting out into traffic safely. It's reducing speed slightly, but not enough to cause any kind of real backup. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we're expecting temps up to 46 degrees. More of the same for the next week as highs stick in the mid-40s. Air quality continues to be a concern, but it could improve a little starting tomorrow. Right now it's sunny, hazy, and 37 degrees. I'm Heather Peterson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So we are in the 250th year since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And
yes, we are.
Steve Handy, my guest host today, is really excited to talk to us about America 250. Tell us.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a couple 2 or 3 years ago, I think, I was appointed by Governor Cox with a number of other Utahns to the America 250 Utah Commission. And so when Governor Cox sat down with us and gave us our charge, he said, think big. And so think big. And so the Congress established a U.S. commission, and all the states now have a state commission. How do we celebrate this? And so there are components of civics, of information, of fun and partying, and lots of great things. One of and there's a terrific website that's been developed. This is under the Department of Community and Cultural Engagement in the state. And I'm going to brag on my daughter-in-law, Nicole Handy, who happens to be the executive director. I had nothing to do with getting her the job. She's incredibly competent, but she's guiding and leading this, and it has multiple times been to Washington, to the other, met with the states. But there's an idea that's I wanted to talk about. It's called America's Potluck. And it's on. This is an idea that came from the time of out of England. Queen Elizabeth on her birthday would have invite the Brits to get together and share a meal together and in community. And so the idea was, well, we should do that with America 250. So this would be on July 5th, the day after the 4th, the 5th. It's a Sunday, and this year, and inviting neighborhoods to get together and engage. And when I was first on the subcommittee, Holly, we talked about, we had some very prominent chefs in the state of Utah come and talk about what's your favorite dish. We had some food writers from the Tribune and Deseret News and others, and other than hamburgers and hot dogs. So these chefs are developing some unique dishes that will be posted eventually on the website that individuals say, hey, I want to try that. And I'm going to bring that. I'm going to bring a potluck to and there's a really cute video about this on the website that you can see. And so it's a way of gathering together, but it's all kinds of activities. This has been, a lot of it's been with toolkits pushed out to the municipalities, cities, and counties to do things, and lots of things. There's a tremendous speaker series going on at all of the universities, and that's on the website too, talking about, from historians and political scientists, and that's going to be a really great thing too.
Wow. So I do have to ask you, is America's Potluck actually for Utah include funeral potatoes?
If you'd like to have that, you can certainly do that. Absolutely. And ham, too. And Jell-O.
Oh, that's right, Jell-O. And brownies, I think.
Yeah.
So, look, I learned a new word, and for the 250, it's semi-quincentennial instead of bicentennial or whatever, right? So semi-quincentennial. It's super interesting, and I love that there's so many different opportunities. I also love that the national organization America 250 has one specific thing that they're focusing on. America Gives is what they're calling it, and talking about a year-round culture of service in the United States. And we've talked on this program before about the 250 semis of food that are going out to all 50 states.
Yes.
And that's a project in collaboration with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I think.
That's exactly right. And they had a big press conference about it, and out at the Welfare Square here, not far from us. And they had the commissioner came in. I can't remember her name. She was the Treasury Secretary, and she's the national commissioner. And they actually branded, the church actually branded these semis with the big 250 logo. And what a great thing! What a great initiative!
That is so interesting. And you were saying that there's a lot of things that municipalities are either doing or they're probably going to do. How do we find out more information about what might be happening?
Well, I think that you start with the America 250 Utah website. In my community, I live in Layton in Davis County. We have had at our Heritage Museum, there's a display, a traveling display, and they're going to have this up here when they open the new museum. We're going to talk about this in the next segment too, up here at Capitol Hill. There will be the pen is mightier than the sword. That's going to be the exhibit. But it takes you through all these panels, all kinds of historical things, and of course, I hope we've all been aware of the Ken Burns American Revolution that's been on public TV, and it's repeating right now, I noticed. And so lots of great ways to do it. But one of the charges from the legislature, from Governor Cox, was to really push civics education. You and I both know it's very much lacking in our society today. And so there's a toolkit for educators to teach about the founding of our country.
So I am on the website, and that is America 250, the number 250.utah.gov. And I'm seeing they have a Walk 250 Utah.
Yeah.
What do you know about that?
Well, I know that
Do I have to walk 250 miles?
Well, you can sign up for it, and you get a sticker.
Wow.
And you get the old thing when you visit the national parks or the state parks, you got a sticker.
Yeah.
So it's kind of modeled after that. But all kinds of creative ways to embed that semi-quincentennial 250 into the minds and to have people join. And I know that we're just in January, but there's lots of things. Just look for things to do to celebrate. It won't just be on July 4th, but it will continue. I think the celebrations will continue. I'm associated with the rodeo in Ogden Pioneer Days, and last year at our rodeo we ran a video about America 250, and we're going to do some things again this year. So everyone's picking up on this, and we want to celebrate, and because we're not going to be here for the next whatever the next term would be.
Well, you and I won't be.
No, I'm not going to be here for the next one.
Is it a tricentennial?
Okay, how about
it probably
that?
is.
The tricentennial. Yeah.
Look, there's one thing I remember because we just had New Year's, right? And the ball drops down in Times Square. It's going to drop again this year, which is interesting. It might be the first time it's ever done a double drop.
Might be the first time.
Yeah.
Really neat.
So
neat idea. July 4th. Yeah.
July 3rd, technically,
me, the July 3rd. That's right.
At 11:59.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're going to have a ball drop in New York. So I'm also, one of the other things too, of course, you know, I love service and service opportunities, but Utah also has one. And their headline for the service portion is "Service is not only patriotic, it's powerful." And this is a project, I guess. Is that what you call them? Projects, right? Sponsored by Intermountain Health. And there's lots of different ways, to your point. You can pledge service hours. You can share your story. You have an opportunity to volunteer for local nonprofits or anything, even just holding a community gathering where you talk about, hey, what happened in 1776 and what happened when people sat down to write, people meaning Thomas Jefferson, sat down to write the Declaration of Independence.
There was compromise, which we seem to have forgotten about that a little bit today, Holly.
I hope we do have a conversation about that throughout this year. Okay, so we've already come to the end of our show, which is crazy. And we've talked a lot about the start of the legislative session next week. It will start next year too.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Next week.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is happening is there's a brand new building up there on the Capitol Hill complex. I don't even remember the official name. The North Capitol Building, I think, is actually the official name. So we're going to talk about that, and also it's National Bagel Day. So we're going to talk about that too. And people, our texters, they can text us. What's the best bagel in Utah? 57500.
If you're tired of hot, uncomfortable dress shirts that just don't hold up, sweat stains, stuffy collars, short tails, sound familiar? Meet your new favorite dress shirts from Serve Clothing. The game-changing design features a mesh collar shield that stops sweat stains from ruining your look. Plus, built-in vents keep you comfortable under suits and jackets, no matter the season. You'll love the extra length that stays tucked in and the antimicrobial odor-fighting fabric that keeps you fresh all day. Forget about replacing your dress shirts every 6 months. With Serve Clothing's unbeatable 2-year guarantee, you know your shirt is built to last through the toughest work days in any climate. And giving back is a priority. Last year, Serve Clothing helped to outfit more than 750 missionaries and others in need using a portion of your orders. Don't wait. Serve's shirts sold out 4 times last year. Visit serveclothing.com right now to get yours before they're gone. Serve Clothing. Dress shirts that actually serve you. serveclothing.com.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done, or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. UMB Bank supports individuals and businesses through banking, lending, asset management, and advisory services. This client-focused approach helps people navigate financial decisions, manage risk, and build long-term stability and success. Utah Regional President David Anderson joins us with more.
As a company, UMB has experienced tremendous growth, and we have an incredible story to tell here in Utah. UMB has spent more than a century focused on building long-term relationships and truly understanding our clients. We bring the resources of a leading financial institution with the mindset of a true community partner, one that's invested in helping businesses and families thrive. And today, that commitment is even stronger. We're expanding our capabilities and deepening our service to our customers with the opening of our first branch in Salt Lake City. Our local team brings a combined 300 years of experience, and I'm thrilled that we have yet another way to bring that expertise straight to our Utah customers. Our new location is at 911 East Fort Union Boulevard in Midvale. We'd love for you to stop by, say hello, and see what UMB has to offer for you and your business.
With its continued growth and expanding presence in Utah, UMB Bank is helping strengthen the state's economy by supporting local businesses, families, and community development. Learn more about their services and local impact at umb.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Inside Sources.
We're already to the end. I can't even believe it. It's National Bagel Day, and we're going to talk about that. There's some freebies that we're going to share, and I want you to text us. We already have a bunch coming in, by the way. Text us and let us know where the best bagel is in Utah, 57500. But before we talk about bagels, we have Steve handy. He has been co-hosting all day.
Yes, hello.
Thank you, and thanks for joining me. And I want to just talk about the new building up on the Utah State Capitol Complex. So that's just at the top of the hill, right? And you've got the big rotunda building, you've got a House building, a Senate building, and now we have the North Capitol building. And you have lots of stories that I want you to share with us.
Well, I'd be happy to do that. I joined the legislature in 2010, and you came a little bit right after that for a while. And but remember, the whole Capitol was refurbished in about 2007, 2008, and I can remember going there, and it was all covered in plastic. And that's when they built the Senate and the House buildings to accommodate the legislature and the governor's office.
Well, they earthquake-proofed the rotunda, I think.
Earthquake-proofed the entire Capitol, and the fun tours that you can see I
think stabilizers underneath.
The stabilizers, the rockers.
And
you can kind of see that, and so very, very interesting. They have some open windows there that the school kids love to see that. So then the next thing that needed to happen was the old state office building that was built in the 60s or 70s, early 70s, really decrepit. It was really you could just tell when you went in there the heating and the cooling wasn't working. It was substandard and it just wasn't working. And so a big effort and a lot of money to demolish that and to replace it with what's going to be on the ground floor. Finally, that we will have in the state of Utah a world-class state history museum. I was telling you quickly that I remember one of the times in the legislature, our colleague Julie Fisher was the head of the department, and we had an event for the legislators called A Night at the Museum, and a lot of the artifacts were held down at the old Rio Grande Depot, and they were down in the basement, and their whole point was we can't show the public about Utah's great history. And so then, remember, there was the earthquake at the Rio Grande in 2020 during COVID time. And so all of those things those artifacts are spread all over. I don't know where they are. But finally, we're going to have this, and it's going to open here very soon, I believe. Do we know the time? It's going to open very soon, and the public will be able to see this. And that whole complex up there has been redone, and some tunnels underneath. This is so legislators can stay away from the people, stay in the tunnels. We're not. Thumbs down. We're not for that. But anyway, it's going to be tremendous, and there have been some media stories about it already, but that's going to happen.
So there was a media preview yesterday, and I didn't go. In fact, I wasn't even on the invite list. Oh, I probably was, but I didn't go. But there's lots of great pictures. Tomorrow is the official ribbon cutting, and then when the session opens on January 20th, which is Tuesday, this building will be open to the public.
Yes.
So I do have a question for you. I don't know if you know this. Is the parking going to be any better?
Well, part of this was to build an above ground and an underground parking structure. So yes, the parking will be better because the parking is a nightmare during the session. But hopefully, all the money that's been spent, there's going to be an improved parking situation.
Well, hallelujah.
There. Yeah.
So what are some of the artifacts that you think might be on display for this Utah History Museum?
Well, I know that. I remember I'm a native Utah, Holly, and I remember as a fourth grade history, we went to the Capitol, and there was the famous Mormon meteor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there have been some stories that's going to be on display, refurbished.
Oh.
That will be there in the museum. And so kids will love. Abe Jenkins was the driver, set world-class speed records out at the Bonneville Salt Flats when there still was a Salt Flats. And so that's there. And, of course, all of the pioneer kind of things that the state has collected, but so many wonderful things about our state. And we're going to be reminded of our very wonderful history as a state.
I hope there's a big section for women in politics in the history of Utah.
Of course.
Yeah, because Martha Hughes Cannon,
Yes.
but she wasn't the only one, right?
Nope.
The Kanab City Council had the first all-female city council in the nation, and there's just women had the right to vote in Utah 50 years before suffrage passed, right? So it's a really important piece that I hope is on display.
It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see it come together and see what it looks like.
All right, we are going to talk bagels. So, look, this is something that our texters are super interested in, 57500. So, bagels, it's National Bagel Day. And I think I tried to make bagels one time, and there's a part where the dough rises, you proof it, you boil it, and then you bake it. And when we hit the boiling stage, they all fell apart in the water, and that was the last I tried to make bagels. So we have, well, I will just tell you right now, the winner of the type of bagel is Asiago cheese, and we have a number of texters who are saying the best ones come from Rich's Bagels. We have somebody who loves jalapeno cheddar. They don't say which location they like it from. And then we have a bunch of Einstein Brothers as well. And then our producer, Caitlin, her favorite local bagel shop is in Bountiful, and it's Cheryl's Bagels. So that's super interesting. Do you have a favorite bagel?
Well, I think the only bagel that I really know, and what's so interesting is you'll have these breakfast meetings. It's not really breakfast anymore; it's bagels.
That's right.
And cream cheese and bagels. And so I got introduced to bagels when I was working for the Deseret News, and here on First South and around Main Street was the first ensign there, right at the NAC and the Tribune entrance there, and was really my first exposure to bagels. And I like bagels. It's not. I don't have to have a bagel all the time, but they're fun.
I like them too, and I tend to go towards like the sweet one, like the blueberry,
Yes,
and then you get
I do too.
some of the raspberry, whatever it is that you put on the
I
top.
do too.
But there are some deals, and I do want to tell our listeners about some deals. So Einstein Brothers, if you go in and mention National Bagel Day, if you order in bakery, you get a free bagel and schmear with any purchase, not combined with any other discounts. Panera Bread, also, if you buy an Asiago bagel stack, you get a second stack of your choice for free with the code BOGOSTACK. They just added a trio of breakfast bagel stacks, which I didn't even know that was a thing, but sounds good. There's other ones we're still having people write us. Another shout out for Cheryl's, 2 more for Einstein Brothers. We have a bagel project in Salt Lake City. The Rich's Bagels, by the way, is Holiday and Sandy. That's Highland Drive down in Sandy. And Baby's Bagels across the street from Salt Lake City's Public Library. I didn't know about those either.
Who knew? I didn't know that
did
either.
Not know.
Right here on 2nd East. Yeah.
All right. So we have a couple of fun facts right as we get to the very, very end. Today is actually the actual birthday for Martin Luther King Jr. He was born 97 years ago. So he died quite a while ago. But if you look around at some of the people, like 97 isn't that old anymore, right?
Right.
So today is his actual birthday, January 15th. And then we'll observe the birthday on Monday. So on this day, which is January 15th, like we said, Vermont in 1777, I find this a little bit amusing. They declared their independence from New York State.
Okay.
Like you're not the boss of us anymore.
No, we don't have to do it.
Okay, so you and I have both been members of the Republican Party, and we have an elephant. What's the other one?
It's the Democrats have a donkey.
They have a donkey, and it was on this day in 1870 that the Democratic Party donkey first appeared in Harper's Weekly. So there was a political cartoonist, 1870.
Yeah.
1870. So I think this one is interesting and sad, actually. But in 1919 in Boston, Massachusetts, there was a molasses flood. It actually, there was a big tank in the heart of the city, and it was they were heating it, and it burst. And so it sent this really hot molasses through the city. It killed 21 people, injured a whole bunch of people, and that happened in 1919. So super interesting. And then, are you a Utah Jazz fan? Do you follow the Jazz?
Yeah, I follow the Jazz.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit of trivia right as we come to the end. In 2000, Utah's Jerry Sloan became the 12th coach in NBA history to reach the 700 victory plateau when the Jazz defeated the LA Clippers at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. So
Amazing.
there you go.
Amazing.
That was
right
in 2000.
Next door to us.
Okay. Look, so an Ogden hospital was forced to halt all emergency operations after police say a patient threatened to blow up the building. That is coming up with Midday with Maria Chaleos. Holy cow. Stay tuned for that information from